Well, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, good to see everybody. Grace, it is good to see you today. Great, great to see you, man. I see you all on time and ready to have your political leader come and talk. I see why you were in the back so early, Grace. I
Yeah.
see. It seems like it's a lot of excitement and for you to talk about Dr. Moniba. I think Gregor and uh, 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 what are you looking forward to see today, Chris, on Dr. Moniba's parents? What are you looking forward to hear?
Well, Dr. Peabody, it's nice to be here. Nice to see you as always. Um, and I'm looking forward to the show tonight because my political leader, Dr. Clarence Kwei Maniba, will be on this show tonight. And I'm looking forward to a lot of things. Dr. Muniba is a very intelligent man, and I'm looking forward to him, elaborating more on, especially during the campaign, his experience and what he's looking forward to for the next 6 years. Trying to enlighten our people on what to look for in in
God, not yet. I'll tell you when to put that photo up. Not yet. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
what kind of photo is that?
No, that's some photo that I wanted you to put up for my cousin and her husband anniversary. So I just
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay,
too yeah. Just hold on, yeah, bro. All right,
yeah.
go ahead, Chris.
So I'm looking forward to him. Talking to Dr. Maniba, basically, if people are smart tonight, they will listen in deep and try to learn because he's a very, very intelligent man, and he has very insight when it comes to Liberia and development. He is not. Although when you get into the political arena and the people say you're a politician, I
Hmm.
don't look at Dr. Maniba basically to like a politician. It's just that he have love. He has love for Liberia, and he wants to come and demonstrate that, and also try to push the younger generation forward in this is your time. Do what you're supposed to do to get to where you're supposed to get. It's not a free ride. You can do this, but you have to prepare yourself, just how Dr. Maniba, has prepared himself over the years. And so I'm looking forward to that because a lot of you can learn a lot of things from him. Usually when I maybe in a meeting with Dr. Maniba and some of his people in his campaign. And when he's talking, that's why I look forward to because I learn. Although I'm older than him, he's like my small brother, but I learn because I still see myself in him because it's that generation,
Hmm.
generation millennium and generation X. So we all fall, around the same kind. So I look, God, I see myself in him. Although he's a younger person than me, but
Right.
I see myself in him, and I think that Liberia should be giving younger people the time now to lead the country in the right direction. Well, I mean, younger people, not just young, but a younger person who is prepared and ready to lead, have the experience and all of that. So I look forward to him being on tonight. I'm very excited. I usually come on this show by 5:30, but today I had to leave everything else because I know that Dr. Moniba is coming here and he will be giving wisdom and
Mm.
also knowledge to people that will be listening to him. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Look, I noticed that we are not live. I mean, we are not on Facebook. Do you guys know what's going on in the studio, guys? Do you know what's going on? We're not on Facebook. I'm checking, and we are not. Will you guys check and see in the back? I know we are live, but we are not live on Facebook. So little we're experiencing that same problem we had the last time. We are not live
Ah,
on Facebook.
so they took off on Facebook again because that the
I don't
money
know.
back has been
Somebody
giving.
keep playing with. Somebody keep messing with us. Somebody.
Thank you.
Somebody keep messing with us. They
And
keep
I
doing.
know that, so I know.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time
Okay.
I figured that out. So let
Let
me
me.
just see if we are on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I'm checking here. Maybe it could be my phone, but
Yeah, I don't think
um,
it's your phone because I'm on my platform and I don't think we are on.
okay.
Let me see.
Oh,
One
you mentioned
second.
Miss Kringa said we are on, but I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see us because I usually get the alert,
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't see us being
yeah.
on.
I'm on our page. I'm not seeing it. So which is true because the the other people that are locking on now are not the name are not popping up. Like normally you see the name on the live feed. I'm
Mm.
I don't know what is going on, but I don't see us on Facebook. And but young guy says she can see us. Normally our
Because
people
what you can see us because maybe from another platform or something, but we are not. They usually will just somebody is doing this and
somebody have been messing up, trying to get us, you know, trying to get to us. Somebody have been trying to get to us. But we she says she hearing, but we're not on. It's true that
Yes, we are not live on Facebook.
yeah, we are not. The guys in the studio just sent me a message said that we are not live. It seemed like somebody always tried to go there and kick us out. Hiking on the closing argument, and our chief technician Julius probably is at work. Uh, uh,
mm,
so
you won't
maybe
get a second technician
we do.
because you
Larry,
need to have somebody just not somebody on the platform, but somebody just there for this. Maybe I can find somebody and then I don't know. You'll find somebody we can work with them. Trying to get payments and stuff because you
yeah,
you, you don't want people who are panelists to be technicians because sometimes for their own interest they could shake it. I don't trust
yeah.
Julius. I can tell him in his face. Oh, God. Oh
Uh,
God.
He's a
So
great guy,
on the
but yes,
other hand,
it seemed like somebody keep hacking or trying to shut us down. Our closing acumen page.
yeah.
Somebody keep doing it, and we're not going to let that
And then
happen.
since that the money back coming on, even worse, they're
Yeah.
shaking, so they don't want. Oh Lord.
Huh? Dad, are we
Don't
live?
happy, don't happy, wrong.
Dad, are we live?
We not.
Oh, look at Grace. My friend doesn't see Grace wearing. My friend doesn't see Grace wearing jacket. Oh, wow.
And
I told her
I
the
also
same thing, but
I'm
apparently,
tired.
I mean,
Hmm?
Well,
But
Grace,
Ron, I have
you
to show
look
you my
you
blue
look
white
well
t-shirt.
dressed. You look well
You
dressed for
see
the okay. You look well
my
dressed
blue
for the
white
location.
t-shirt and here.
You look.
People,
That's why you can't host tonight. We'll make sure you co-hosting tonight. You're not gonna
no,
lead the
I
host.
hosted tonight. I got my clock here, everything. Ah, oh Lord, I swear. No, man, I will even do that for you though. If you were running for president and the interaction we have had, if I feel
Professor
you can
Larry said we are live, but we are not. People are not getting us. It's on YouTube. It's on the radio. Folks are listening to us right now on the radio, but it
It's
is
not
not
live. It's not live on Facebook.
it's not
Facebook.
live on Facebook. Yeah.
It's not Facebook. Professor Kennedy said we're live. I don't know why they get, but they
But I'm
pitching
not
like this.
getting the notification and I always
Yeah, the
say
notification,
I even
and
texted my friend, she said we're not on live on Facebook.
yes, we need to. We're not live. Apparently somebody may have kicked us out, but we are on the radio. We
Yeah,
are on
that's
the
what
radio.
happened the last time, and we were able to come back on the radio.
Somebody go and kick us.
Somebody messing with the page. It's just
Yep.
plain and simple.
Somebody's messing with the page, but we are
The
live
fight is
on.
real. The fight is real. Closing argument getting to be the thing.
Yeah, so it's a lot of a sabotage and people trying to get to closing acumen. A lot of things going on, but we're not going to let it happen. We got some very strong men and women in on the closing acumen that we all can make it happen. So we're not going to let it go down. But we're on the radio, guys. They are hearing us live in Liberia, so that's we will get the page going on. But the folks in Liberia,
But
are
we
listening.
need to find a way to I wanna
Yeah,
Tomalin will
we
not
need
come
to
in
find a way to get our. They say
the page on
Julia said we live on YouTube. Yes, we are live on YouTube.
YouTube
Uh,
is
uh,
live.
over-
YouTube is live. It's the Facebook.
Yeah, it's the Facebook that
And,
is not.
and we are live on the radios in Liberia too. I just got
Yeah,
a
we
text.
rely on many channels in Liberia.
Yeah.
Hot FM, Truth FM, Real TV, and other group. We are on all over the counties. Nima Bass or others are watching. So we keep it going, guys. So what we need is the YouTube link. If you have the YouTube link, just put in the feed. What other people now can go to pick up all our fans on Facebook, our thousands
Yeah,
of
we're
fans on
missing a
Facebook.
lot of our
Yeah,
audiences on
they
Facebook.
can't log, they can't really
It's not
log
fair to
on.
them. It's not.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we get them going. We gotta get them going. Yeah, but we're looking forward to a great show. Grace was saying that she wants she looking forward to hear Dr. Money, but I don't know Robert, but I'm looking forward to hear his perspective on the first 90 day of Joe Barker. What's perspective on that? I'm looking forward to hear that. So
Yeah,
I mean,
as well. I think that I've always said that Dr. Moneybai is he's the next generation of leaders. I see myself in him as a young man as well, and I know for a fact, I have not declared politically 2029 would be a lot different. We would not be on the fence, but I would I think I can go to bed sound knowing a guy like that, a young guy who understands. I think he understands 21st century leadership. He has obviously achieved a lot as young as he is, and I think he understands what needs to be done. He reminds me a lot of Alice Cummings, to be honest with you. Some people have said that they need to join forces, come 2029. A lot of things will happen, but I look forward to his perspective. I really enjoy listening to him, and I think that in a serious country, like I said to some of his folks in last year during the election, he would have been a contender. Unfortunately, he's running in an election in Liberia where the mindset is, oh, the man, you're too young, you still got time on your side. Let the puppy go first. That kind of mindset is what continues to hurt us. But I look forward to what his thoughts are with the 100 days. And I got some questions for him too. I got some tough questions for him as co-host.
yeah,
So I have
we
a question for you, if Dr. Peabody can allow me.
huh?
If you can allow me, I have a
Go
question
ahead, sure,
for
Chris.
Gagwa. He
Yeah.
said that Dr. Moniba reminds him of Alexander Cummings. In what way? I mean, Dr. Moniba do not, in no way to me, is a reminder of Alexander Cummings. Alexander Cummings' experience is very different from Dr. Moniba's experiences. Dr. Moniba has work in the government. He has experience in doing that. He also things that he had accomplished. I mean, this man went to he got his doctorate degree 4.0. Cummings never had a doctorate. So what in what sense does
Chris,
this
come
remind
on,
you? He
come
reminds
on,
you of Cummings.
come on, Chris, Chris,
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
Chris,
his
Grace,
Chris,
experience,
Chris,
it look like
very
Grace.
different.
It look like
Chris,
Grace
Chris,
Kim. Grace
come
Kim.
on,
She's on pre-2029 campaign. She's throwing some
yeah,
heavy shots.
come on,
Let's comment tonight.
Chris,
No,
Chris.
I wish we were on Facebook. We're
I
gonna
was
get back. I can imagine the comments people getting at her right now.
I
Yeah,
would
Yes,
say
ready for him.
Chris, I would eliminate that comment. I would not even I would not say that again. I mean honestly, because you try to compare those are great Liberians. I would even want to compare their both achievement, but those are Liberians that the young people can look up to, and say, yeah, these are true Liberians. These are guys who have gone out there, especially for Mr. Cumming. I got to be a little partial here, but Mr. Cumming achievement. Let's look at that. Dr. Moneyba is still a young man.
He's
Still
45 years old.
yeah, he's a young man. And Mr.
Before
Cumming,
he hit 17, before when Cummings will be 72 in 29.
okay. So
Dr.
what I'm
Moniba,
trying to say here is,
you can't
what I'm
compare
trying
the
to say here is, with Mr. Cummings' age and the achievement, what he has reached, I would not want to compare he and Dr. Monba. I think Mr. Cummings, one of the Liberians that we can talk about that have reached to that milestone.
in the private sector.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Monba is still young. He's 45 years old. He got a
yeah,
long way to go.
and
Yeah.
so and
No,
so.
no,
But
he doesn't have a long way to go though.
but let me just
I mean, in
simplify.
the sense of his age, but what he has accomplished in his age, even with I would say Gagwa, even what Gagwa has accomplished in his age, we have to give people their props. Let's just be fair here.
Yes,
What
agree.
Dr. Muniba accomplishing for the age he
Nobody
is
denying
current,
that.
if you compare that, you can't compare. Now, Cummings got his own thing. He's going. I mean, what he's doing. He's not my candidate. I would never vote for somebody that age to lead like bro, any more. It's not. I never did it. I would never do. I would not punish Liberians like that. We're looking
So
at the young generation, 21st
Well,
century. We're looking at innovative leaders. You know that that's the kind of people we're looking at. So
So
there's no way
Grace,
to compare. There is no
yeah,
way.
Grace,
Professor Cummings.
for some of us who don't know about Dr. Monaba, can you give us his background?
When Dr. Maniba come here, he will speak for himself because he's a person, he holds his own. So I would just give you a little bit of Dr. Maniba experiences and his background. Dr. Maniba he was born under the union with his mom and Harry Maniba. I think you heard about Harry Maniba. He was the vice president under President Samuel Kanyando. He was chosen. Dr. Maniba came here to America. He went to school with the hard way, the traditional, the regular traditional way, and he earned 2 master's degree and a doctorate degree. He also went back to Liberia. He served before he went back to Liberia. He served at the United Nations. I think he served at the missions and he served at the embassy. And he volunteered his service though. He was not paid. When he was working with them, I just giving you a little gist of him because he would come and explain himself to you. When he was working with them, that's when Ellen Johnson noticed his work. She never even knew he was the vice president's son. She noticed his work and she got attracted to it. And then she invited him to come to work in her government. And that's when he went to serve Liberia. So he did serve here in America. He served Liberia at the Liberian embassy. And he went back and served in the government with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Before then, he worked with United Nations missions. He I don't want to just give everything to you. God, I want him himself to be able to really tell you his background. So I expected you, Professor Kennedy, coming here. You could have read a little bit more about Dr. Muniba. You know what I
so
mean?
so before Professor come in, let me just simplify what I meant when I made that comparison. I've had conversations with people, and there's some people that I really respect. Growing up, all of my friends are like maybe 10 years, 7, 8 years older than me, right? And I enjoy those kind of conversations because these are people that I admire, and every time I create these relationships, I look at what am I going to be when I'm this person age. And Professor Larry probably doesn't know, but Professor Larry is someone that I really admire, right? And he's someone just based off his expertise and his presentation, regardless of his age. He's someone that I think has a lot to offer Liberia, and it bothers me that we often overlook individuals like himself, right? Now, the Alice Cummings and Dr. Monobai comparison, I think, can I be more unique than anything else in the sense that uh, when Alice Cummings was Dr. Monobai's age, anyone would say that even in the private sector, he had achieved a lot for himself. I mean, I keep telling people, and Grace, you know this often. You live in this country for many, many years. And I told someone the last time who felt like because we disagreed, they said, oh, that girl's so much. I said, no, we're not going to do that. Grace is a professional woman. We may disagree, but I like the woman. The woman stands up for herself. And because in our mindset, because we disagree fiercely, somehow means we're now enemies, right? I'm not here for all that kind of stuff, right? But imagine when Alice Cummings was Dr. Moniba age and where he was in his own professional life. Claiming the ladder in this country, in corporate America, at the level that he was at that time, working in positions and leadership as a foreigner, as a black person, and as a Liberian, it takes a lot. And so I think that as a supporter of Dr. Clarence Amanaba, and a young man who many of us admire, I like some of what he said. As we still need to know more about him and his policies. I think that should be a great thing to say. You know what? I see Alex in Manaba when Manaba is 60 years old or 65 years old. Who knows? He could be the next president, and he would have established himself as a very, very successful Liberian and one that a lot of young people can be inspired by. You know what I'm saying? So
But
I
when
think
you say
the
that,
thing
you
we're
talk
talking about. Let me just close on the notes.
about
We're talking about very successful man, not in politics. Yes, politics is good. Governance experiences are good, but we've hired a lot of career politicians who have all of the experiences, and you can make this a campaign message, but have not done nothing, have not got Liberia to where Liberia needs to be at. So who are we looking forward to right now? Are we just looking to politicians? And I think that the Monobar will not describe himself as my politician. He's a businessman and he's a career professional. And I think that would take him a long way. So any comparison with successful people like Cummings, I think should be embraced.
But my thing is that when I'm not taking away. I want you guys to really understand that I have nothing against people who are older. No, it's not my point here. I'm just saying, if we came on this show because Dr. Monima is about to come on this show. He's our guest tonight. I don't want us to make this about Alexander Cummings because there is no way I will compare Dr. Moniba with Alexander Cummings. In no way that Cummings has accomplished anything more than what Dr. Moniba had accomplished in his lifetime at his age. So let's just make it clear here that we never came here to compare anything. I do not see Dr. Moniba in Cummings. In Dr. Moniba next 6 years, I do not see anything about his successes in Cummings. I'm not taking away that Cummings was successful. I'm not taking away he rose up to the plate here in America. He did what he had to do. We all doing what we have to do. America too. Sometimes they have other ways that you can step into position. It's not always hard work, and we know that. I'm a first experienced person when it comes to that because the way I have worked hard at what I do, and I had to train people to come take over position and be my supervisor and my boss. I know what it is. So sometimes favoritism is within that. If you can bow down more and you can do yes, sir, they will also push you. This is America. We all live here. So I don't want to compare Dr. Moniba with any other candidate. I just want to talk about Dr. Moniba tonight. I don't want to take away anything from him because the man he has achieved a lot of stuff in his young age and he carried himself very, very well. So for me, moving forward when it comes to Liberia, I know other people who have worked hard, they are older. Me here, I'm not even young. Dr. Manimba is not my age. I told you that I'm older than him. But I'm just saying when I see a generation setting, I see Dr. Moniba within myself and I see myself within him. And who do I want most to carry on the mantle for Liberia? Taking that mantle and running, I see that person within Dr. Moniba. And I want to put him out there to the world that especially our young generation, we should not always give our governance and our future to people who already retired from a job. They live their life and they come and they want to take over and say, yeah, so I already lived my life when I said I had retired. I did everything. My family settled. Now I come to be personal life. But we're not doing that. We want
Grace,
somebody
can I
like
come in
Dr.
real quick?
Moniba who lived in Liberia, gave his time there, serve the people, and then know what he's doing and come and say, you know what, I can take the mantle, I can change this country. So another child like I said, if Dr. Monipa could do this, I can do it. And that's what I'm looking at.
Professor, go ahead.
Yeah. So let me say, great. Thanks to Robert. Much love and respect for you as well, Robert. I follow you on social media. I think to a certain extent, Grace, I think you made an assumption when I asked to tell us a little bit about Dr. Mulba. You assumed that I didn't read up about him, right? because rather than say, hey, did you read about Dr. Moore? No, I just wanted you to give a little background, but you said I didn't read up on him. So, but look, I have much love and respect for him as well. No one can overlook or overshadow the work that he's done. So it's not easy coming in this country in the U.S. and doing extremely well, because they call the U.S. the great equalizer for a reason, and that's because you don't necessarily or normally would get a job in the U.S. based on nepotism, on tribalism, or any of that stuff, right? You come in here, you have to work hard, and if you work hard enough, you're going to accomplish something and become someone. So I think it's a great win when Closing Arguments brings someone like Dr. Moloba on, so he can share, some of his thoughts and ideas about how to take Liberia forward. So yeah, it's absolutely great, So I definitely look forward to engaging him in the conversation. But I think also it's not a comparison, or it's not. I don't think it's going to be a show about comparing him to other people. I just want to listen to him and hear him share his vision, because I think a lot of the young folks out there, a lot of the young politicians should be given a chance to come in and explain or share their vision on how to move Liberia forward. Liberia's been poor for way too long. You can't have the level of resources that you find in Liberia and be as poor as Liberia is. It just doesn't make any sense. So, maybe he can come in and tell us, what he, how he sees Liberia moving forward. Do we have to wait until election to create jobs, or is there a private sector? Just different things we can have conversation on. So yeah, really, really, really look forward to engaging him. Back to you, Doc.
Yes, I think for me, I wouldn't want to compare them. Really, I think they are two great people, and I think firstly we should look at that. Mr. Cummings have been around for a while. Just as Professor Kennedy said, America is not a place you can just come and they give you job, put you in era. Whether you married it, you have to merit it in a sense. If you don't merit it, they're not going to give it to you. And we saw Mr. Cummings rise to that level. Dr. Moneyba is a young man who's coming up the ladder. I think for me, I don't think comparison or comparing them, I wouldn't want to put my emotions into it, say, oh, this, that, nah, I'm not going to do that, So, but I think there are two great people, and I'm looking forward for you to come and share with us. It appears that we still do not have our Facebook Live on. I think there is a problem. Our number we've been I don't know, Professor Yale, who in the high tech era, it seems like we've been attacked a couple of times with folks because this is not our regular number. We don't really get this kind of number when we are not on Facebook. So I don't know what is going on.
Well, this is all set up. We all know already. I know what it is. Although I'm not an IT person, but usually they do these things.
A lot of people reaching out to me and say
they do these things, and whoever doing it, will get paid though.
Yeah, I don't know why people
don't like those kind of things.
Yeah, we will figure it out when we meet tomorrow. We'll have a little powwow. We'll figure it out, and it will get resolved, right? So
we had the same problem last time, and Julius came on and was able to figure that somebody had kicked out our last string of the feed. So, but yes, guys. So we're looking forward. Is Dr. Moneyba still coming? Is he going to appear?
Dr. Moneyba is going to appear. I sent him the link. He will appear.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. One thing I like about Dr. Moneyba, he's a very humble man. Unlike most Liberians, humbleness is not part of what he's a very humble man, so he can talk to three people. He doesn't care how many people in the room. He did not skip any debate in Liberia when he came to president. He didn't say, John, we are not coming to the debate, and Joseph Baga not coming, so I'm coming. He was in that debate. 2 times they had it. So that's Dr. Moneyba. 3 people can be sitting here. He will come and he will tell you, he will give you full information on how he thinks Liberia will move forward. Because if he said one thing, and he can just track into one person, it means that he had changed Liberia. And that's who he is. So he's going to be coming. I sent him the link. He was just in a dinner with some honorable people. He's going home and he's getting ready. He will be here soon. So we can talk and everything.
I think Dr. Moneyba is trying to log on. I can see him in the back. He's trying to log on.
So
Okay.
they didn't take it away from him tonight. So newsflash, I never talk nothing for Dr. Money.
No, but thousands of people are listening to him across the country.
Yeah,
YouTube
thank you.
is live. I see people commenting on a Facebook, but on the actual Facebook page, I don't see it. I don't see the show.
Yeah,
live.
somebody have tagged us on that.
But people are commenting, people are listening, and thousands of people across the country are listening in Morocco and across. So that's
But here's the key, though. Here's the key. Because this show is being recorded, it will always be rebroadcast, right?
Yeah.
It remains permanently in cyberspace. So even after we all leave this show, it will still be played multiple times over in YouTube. And this is where we want to also start directing people, because when TCA gets its website and other footprints, other platforms out there, people will be able to say, hey, you know something? I wasn't able to watch the show live, but let me see if I can catch up on it by going to TCA's website and pick up on all the videos. So, yeah, so, it will be repeated multiple times.
Right. So we will.
But it's just a beautiful thing when you can watch the video in the time that it's actually happening.
Absolutely.
It takes away from
real-time
the
interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So
what page are they watching it from? For those commenting on Facebook, I see people are commenting on Facebook. What page is that? Can we share that on the on our actual page? Professor Larry, I think you commented as well. What page was that from?
Yeah, I'm going to paste the link in here.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so we can just share it so they can watch. They can watch it from there.
Yeah, I think that would be great. But tour guy was coming on. I don't know whether he's okay. But I saw that the money about to trying to make his way. So once he log back on, we'll bring him on, start the show, and we'll have the show like this.
Yeah, somebody said it on our page. How many pages we got?
I think we got one other page that folks just group page, and we got a real page. So I don't know, but I think Dr. Moniva is in the back, and I want Grace to introduce Dr. Moniva, and then I will bring him right on. So Grace, I will give you the opportunity to introduce your political leader, and then we're going to bring him right on, and then we'll start the ball game. Yes.
Well, do you want me to also be the first one to ask him the questions, or?
Okay, I said introduce your political leader. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
But I just want to ask, before I introduce him, I want to ask a favor. Can I be the first to ask him his first?
No problem, Grace. You're the only female here. That's your political leader. We'll give you everything. Anything you want, we'll give it to you.
So I would like to welcome and introduce Dr. Clarence Play Moniba to the TCA platform. Dr. Moniba is a Liberian, and that alone is an introduction for him. He is the standard bearer. He ran in the 2023 election as the standard bearer of Lionel Liberia National Union. And that is about it. He ran as a presidential candidate, and he is here today to tell us, what he thinks about the government so far. And also, I want personally to know what was his experience in the campaign when he ran the campaign during the time that he ran. So, everybody out there, let's get together and welcome Dr. Clarence Play Moniba, the next president of the Republic of Liberia, in my vision.
Well, let's welcome the former presidential candidate of LANU, His Excellency, Dr. Clarence Moniba. Welcome, sir. Good to see you, sir.
No, honestly, I'm very, very happy to be here. Hello to everyone. Of course, my own special Grace. I have to single her out. She's been such a good inspiration to me. But no, honestly, very happy to be here so that we can really talk about, not only where we see this country right now, but where we really hope to move this country forward. So again, happy to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Welcome, Doc. Welcome. And we have with us here tonight Professor Larry Kennedy, Toga Alexander. I'll stop right there. Robert Gagwa Jr., And the others, Tomalin and Ben, will be joining us shortly. But welcome, sir, and Yohama 7. But we'll go to Grace now, who will, we want to give Grace the opportunity to be the first to kick out this conversation.
Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Moniba, welcome to the closing argument platform. You know, I am really looking forward to meeting you in this life because for some reason, um, I think that God had actually directed me to you because I'm now a politician. I never was in any campaign in Liberian history before until I saw you and I read about you and did my research. So I am really looking forward to tonight. But I just want to do a quick wellness check with you. I want to know how you're doing. And also, I will just lay everything and then you can go from there. I want to know how you're doing, number one. Number two, in this campaign, the last campaign that was held, you were the hardest engaging candidate ever in the history of Liberia campaigns. I will say that because I watch you toe to toe, day by day, minute by minute, and hour by hour. And I watch you, so I know that you visited 263 towns and villages.
Yeah.
I also know that you did 163 interviews total. You did 35 online interviews. And I want you tonight, after you gave us a wellness check on how you're doing, because I was just when I was watching you, I didn't even know. I said, "Duh, you got strength. You ready. You're a strong person." So I want to know how you're doing. Number one. Number two, I also want to know your experiences, that your interaction, your experiences with the people when you went in those villages. The reason why it connected with me because I've been in some of those villages, but I never did 263. So I applaud you for that. So I want to know because you know when people talk about campaign, they only think Monrovia, and you know the surroundings. They don't know what's going on in those villages. Most of the politicians have no clue that what people are really dying in those places. So I want you to give us a brief, information on that, and and how you doing and everything, and hope everything is going on well. That's my first question to you.
No, again, everybody, thank you so much for having me on. And like I said, we're about to talk about Liberia. And so again, Grace, thank you for that question because what I always like to tell people is that we knew that the odds was against us in this past campaign. We announced very late in January 2023, but we knew that if we had any chance to make an impact, even if we did not win, but if we had any chance to make an impact, we could not just sit down in Monrovia. We had to go to the villages, to the towns and villages and the counties. And so that's what we committed to doing. So what we would do, we'll do 8 or 9 different towns or villages every single day. And we would go there and our rule was as long as there was 10 people, we were going to talk. And so that's what we would do. We would talk for over an hour. But the unfortunate thing that always happened, anytime we enter a town and village, the questions are always the same, and the answers and the responses were always the same. Do you have any good roads here? No. Good schools? No. Good hospitals? No. Good jobs? Absolutely not. Good housing? No. Indoor plumbing? No. So then you already begin to understand why Liberia is way behind other developing countries. We are a very old country, but there have been no development. So the first thing that we always have to talk to the people about is that we have to raise our standards. Not only standards for our leaders, but also for ourselves. We have to start to demand more. And so on the campaign trail, when you are talking to people, you are trying to actively get them to understand. Because in Liberia, everybody, all of us, we say we want to change. We say we want change, but time to change, we don't want to change. And I will give you a perfect example. When you go around talking to people, the typical Liberian mindset, oh, you just come in with small. They may have been here before. We are not talking about policies. We are not talking about issues. And so we end up hiring or voting for people, and just not even the presidential level. Look at the representative level. Look at the senatorial level. And I know we'll have an opportunity to talk about the budget. But the budget itself should let you know that there's going to be no fundamental transformation in Liberia. And nobody can convince me otherwise. And again, like we'll talk about it later. I'm sure we'll talk about rice. But the very moment that you put $5-6 million in the budget for agriculture, And then you already see what's the issue happening in Liberia. You know we have some issues. And so going around the country, discussing with people, interacting with people, the one thing I got from every town and village I entered, frustration. Frustration. Because people come, government officials come, lawmakers come, in big cars with money, and you are talking to people who don't have food to eat. You are talking to people whose mothers and wives, are dying walking to hospitals. You're going to hospitals that have no electricity. So the frustration is just all over this country. And that's why, when you talk to Liberian people and they talk so negative about our own country, not only does it make me feel bad, but you have to understand why. Because they see other people benefiting. When you look in Liberia, the richest people in this country, there are two sets of rich people in this country: foreigners and corrupt politicians. How are we going to build our country? And so again, going around the country, our goal was very simple. If we are not going to win this election, we are going to make sure that the country knows us, but not only knows us for knowing us, but knows us and know what kind of policies we want to put in place. We have to start to change Liberia's presidential elections, representative elections, senatorial elections to issues. Now, oh yeah, we know the man. Oh yeah, the men are my countrymen. We are too tribal in Liberia, and that was also very evident as you're going around the country. We are very tribal. We need to start to become more nationalistic.
And Dr. Maniwa, that's the reason why when I saw you work like that, I knew that if that people have voted you into power, the way you work on that campaign trail, that's the kind of president for me that we were looking for to work for Liberia, because you have to be able to work that hard to bring the change to the country, because Liberia right now, where we stand, is way behind the countries that are way behind, as I will repeat what you always say. So when I saw your work ethics in the campaign, in the elections, I knew straight that, beside me knowing that you were going to do good for the country, I knew straight from your work ethics that you were the kind of person that we needed sitting at the head of the table. But my second question to you, Chief, you did a lot of philanthropic work, and you did a lot of charity work. People don't know about that because you're somebody like me. We do a lot of work because we gifted with that. We actually it's a gift, it's a talent, because it comes naturally. Some people do it for show off because they want people to vote for them, because they want to show off that they're doing work. But some people, it's a talent, you can't help it. So I see that in you, and I also, because I have that, so I can discern it with you, with the kind of work that you did. You did that before you ever got in government. So I want you, and you did that after, and you also doing it right now after the campaign. Other candidates that ran, they're sitting down and they ain't talking anything. Since you started talking, plenty people start talking now. But since you started working, I see people will start to do work. I see you doing the content initiative project. The Content Pride Initiative project. That's what you're doing. And I want you to elaborate a little bit on that project. Also, I want you to talk about your charity work that you have done, especially with the children in the country. Because a lot of them contacted me. I never even knew them, but telling me someone they graduated from high school because of you and all that. So if you can elaborate a little bit more on your work that you have done in the country, moving forward, maybe if you have plans to do some work, don't give all yet, because the people that steal people information, not created. So please.
So before I even answer that, and I saw some other men on the panel, right? And I saw some men on the panel. You see.
Yeah, that why we gave her the chance to go first.
Yeah, but the reason I asked that question is so we can all know and understand why it's so important to have a strong woman behind you. And so that's what Grace has, been since the very first day I met her. And even talking about women, I just want to say something. I know I was supposed to call my mom right before this show, and I know she's watching. So talking about the foundation, my mom has always been the rock, and she was the one that even initiated the Moniba Foundation that we started almost 20 years ago at this point, when my father died in 2004 in a car accident. But it's very simple. One thing that made a huge impression on me when I first moved back to Liberia in 2010, 2011, the young people of this country, we don't believe that we have the ability to not only transform this country, but let alone transform our own lives. We really don't believe we have the opportunity to. And so that's why it was so important as we're launching the foundation. We focus a lot on education, vocational, technical training as well. We focus a lot on giving loans to farm women, market women. And so we still have that foundation. Anybody who's listening, go on moneybackfoundation.org, and you'll be able to see some of the work we're doing. Right now, like I talked about, the fact that we have to start to have pride in Liberia. Let's be honest. We don't really have pride in our
There's
country.
a feedback.
Somebody has a radio on.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Can we just mute everybody?
Lofa, mute yourself for a second.
Yeah, it was Lofa.
I think I'll Lofa allow my own countrymen, but no problem. But listen, I was talking about the fact that we need to have more nationalistic pride for ourselves. A lot of times we talk negative about Liberia, and at some point that has to change if we want a better country. Right now, even when you go on Google or you go on the internet and type in Liberia, all you will see is negative. You will see Ebola. You will see corruption. But in order to change that, it has to be the young people. One of the main reasons why I ran for president last year was because 75% of the people in this country are under the age of 45. And so when you understand and you know that, then you already know and understand that our generation will be the one to transform this country. And so our foundation focuses a lot on young people, empowering young people, giving them loans, giving them scholarships, giving them training, giving them the ability to understand that they themselves, not only do they have to raise their own standards, but they themselves have the responsibility to change this country. So going around campaign, and I always tell this story, the days where we didn't have much money, we'll go door to door, just, we'll visit 150, 200 houses in one day time. And so this young person came to me and he was so excited. He was like, "Oh, Dr. Muniba, you're my hero." I said, "Oh, thank you. Your vote's guaranteed, eh?" He said, "No, I'll vote for you 2029. You stay young yet." And this was a 25, 26-year-old man talking to me. So if he has that mentality and attitude that he cannot make a difference in Liberia, how are we going to change a country that is filled up with young people? And so again, our foundation focuses a lot on empowering young people, having us raise our standards. But then more importantly, we now have to be able to look at it from a nationalistic standpoint. What can we all do? And the example, I was on the radio a few days ago, and I talked about this. I think like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the EU ambassador, he talked about how dirty Liberia was. And y'all remember that, right? He talked about how dirty Liberia was. And the immediate response from the typical Liberian wasn't, "Oh yeah, how can we make Liberia cleaner?" It was, "Oh, how dare he say that? Who is he to tell us? We can say it, but he cannot say it." So we need to start to change our mindset in terms of saying, okay, how can we make solutions? How can we bring about solutions to our country as opposed to blaming other people or waiting for other people, foreigners and national countries to take the lead in our transformation?
All right, let's go to Professor Kennedy for his question. And then
Dr. Muniba, yeah, thanks so much, Doc. Dr. Muniba, it's a pleasure, man. Heard so much about you. Yeah, all the things Grace been saying, I could have sworn you walk on water, my man. But no, so a couple of quick questions. When you travel the counties, right? When you travel the rural parts of Liberia, and you talk to the people, what are the top 3, maybe top 5 issues that's confronting the people in the counties?
Okay, and so I kind of referred to it before, right? Any town or village you enter, first of all, the road. So the road is so automatic, I won't even talk about the road. But we already know and understand that every road, 60 to 65% of the roads in Liberia are dirt roads, dusty road, pothole, mud hole, forget about the rainy season. But education, when you have a child, all of us, and I'm sure everybody here, or most people here have children, the one thing you want for your child is to be educated so that they can live a better life. They can live a better life than you are living. They can have better opportunities than you have. And when you go to almost every single school in Liberia, walk in there, no indoor toilet, no computer, no electricity, no blackboard. Most of the children are sitting on the floor. Then you start talking about the fact that there's no school feeding program. So we are sending our children, especially in the villages, because you talked about that. Our village students are walking 30 minutes, 45 minutes, going to a school that has all of these things I talk about, or has the lack of it. No blackboard, no, the teachers are barely showing up because they are not getting paid. No electricity. The typical student in Papulu, the typical student in Basa, they don't even know how to turn a laptop on. So how are they going to compete? So when you go to these villages, the first thing they always talk about is the type of education for their children. What type of schools are we sending our children to? That's always paramount and critical because, again, every parent wants a better life for their child. The second thing that people always talk about, hospitals. That's another issue. We are living in a country, Professor, and you know it. God forbid you get sick in Liberia. The first thing you want to do is look for a plane ticket to leave Liberia. When you get sick in Liberia, you're not going to JFK. You're not talking about going to Tapita Hospital. You are talking about going to Ghana, going to India, going to America, going to Europe. But how many Liberians can afford that? So again, when you go to all these towns and villages and you see what they call a clinic, you will feel so bad. And again, I know you've seen these places, but you will feel so bad for your own country when you walk in some of these places. When you walk in some of these hospitals and clinics, you begin to understand the dire state that our country is in. So that's why, and I will keep bringing other things in, but that's why when you look at the budget, of Liberia, and you see that we spend as a government, we spend more money on government vehicles for ministers than we do on ambulances for the sick. You already know that it's impossible to transform Liberia with that type of mindset. So schools was a major thing. Hospitals was another thing. And then, of course, jobs, housing. Those are things when you go to a village, everybody going on the farm. But when you go on the farm, it's 2024. But people are farming in Liberia like it's 1924, like it's 1824. So how are we going to advance as a country when we sit there? And again, I'll talk about the budget because for me this week, that's my major gripe. We put $5-6 million in the national budget. 5 to 6, maybe if we look at $7 million to the agriculture budget. And then we expect us to be able to be self-sufficient in food. We expect us to be able to be self-sufficient in our staple food of rice. It's impossible. So again, the villages, they will not be able to see any transformation if their schools look how they look, if their hospitals look how they look, if their agricultural farms look how they look. It's impossible to change Liberia. And I don't want to, sound like, being so negative, but it's the truth. And at a certain point, if we are going to change Liberia, we have to start to say the truth to each other. The way Liberia is operating now, it's going to be impossible to get true transformation. Impossible. And so those were some of the major things: hospitals, schools, the farming, jobs, and then don't even start to begin to talk about the housing. Because when we're going to these towns and villages, after we do our 7 or 8, wherever the night met us is where we will sleep. So we are sleeping in people's homes that honestly, you feel so bad to even enter. And they are suffering, and that's what they call homes. And so, there's so many issues. There's so many issues.
Quick follow-up. I'm glad you mentioned jobs because for the families to send their children to school, they got to pay school fees. They're not going to get the money because it's going to fall from the sky. So there has to be jobs, right? If you're going to send somebody to the hospital, you need money to pay for medicine, pay doctor bills, and all that stuff. So jobs is important. So it looks like we don't have a true mechanism, a true job creation strategy in Liberia. And I think also to your point, in terms of the money in the budget, I think administration after administration tends to rely on foreign donors to kind of help like things in agriculture, right? Because over the past 5 years, the U.S., not counting the OECD countries, the U.S. by itself has given Liberia over $710 million. It's on foreignassistance.gov. You can go and see it. $710 million over 5 years. So what would you say if the donors were to I know it may not happen, but what happened if the donors were to pull out That's 700 and something million over the past 5 years that keeps, at least 100 and something million per year comes to Liberia. If that money dries up, what do you think is going to happen?
And obviously, I have very good friends in the donor community, some very good and well-meaning ambassadors who are here and serving, representing their countries. But let's be frank and let's be fair. If we as a nation continue to wait for donors to lead our development, we are going to continue to have the country that we have right now. Go to Rwanda. When you go to Rwanda, they tell you where they need development. They tell you where they need help. In Liberia, we say, yo, please can help us. Anything you want to do. So there's no structure. There's no direction. The donors come, even that $100 million per year, that's a lot of money. But to your point, and you said over 700 million, why is that money not going towards us being self-sufficient in our staple food of rice? Why are we sitting down here and India is passing a tax that adding $2 on our rice, and the government we just don't do nothing about it? So yes, the donors have done a lot. We continue to appreciate it, but until Liberia and Liberians,
is it a failure of leadership? My last question, Doc. Is it a failure of leadership that we seem to be in this cycle?
Listen, and there's no way to sugarcoat around the bush. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a failure of leadership because the people of Liberia put leaders in positions to transform the country, not to do status quo. And right now, if we continue this mindset of putting $5 million in the budget for agriculture, $6 million in the budget for agriculture, and hope and pray that the US, that the UK, that Germany will give us money to grow our own food, then we are failing ourselves, thus a failure in leadership. So again, if we need progressive leadership, if we are going to truly transform Liberia, we cannot do business as usual. And that's what the frustrating part is, because Liberians we are so hardworking. We have some of the best soil in West Africa. Yet, when we want rice, what do? We go to Freeport and look on the sea. We look on the ocean looking for rice to come to Liberia. When we have all the land behind us, we got Lofa, we got Bong, we got Bassa, we got Bapulu, we have all these counties behind us, but yet the primary source for our rice is over the sea coming from India. So again, that's why when we sit down here and they put taxes on as a government, we can't do anything. So we need transformational leadership. So that's why this government, right? We'll say that they just took over 3-4 months, but I tell you one thing, the budget itself is not good enough to take us to where we need to go. And so, yes, the government has just taken their bearings. They're still forming a government, but we already understand that at this time next year, we have to see something completely different.
Thank you, Dr. Moneyba. Gosh, just before I go to Robert, we are now live on Facebook. So just thank you, Lofa, for restoring our something. So please share the link. We are back live on Facebook. So we'll go to Robert Gagwa. Got 2 questions, and then we go around so that everybody have an opportunity to ask.
Thank you, Dot. Thank you, Lofa, for putting up the Facebook. And it's great to have Liberians who are very talented. And I just want to take 10 seconds to just highlight Lofa. We've been struggling with our Facebook page. We've been talking about Hawk, but there's one man who understands his craft, and he came to save the day. So Lofa, I'll give you a big hand clap. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Thank you. But
thank you, Lofa.
Yeah, but Dr. Moneyba, it's great to have you back on. It's always intriguing listening to you. Not only are you well articulate, it seems like you understand what you talked about. There are lots of people who talk the good talk, but you can read between the lines that they don't understand what they're talking. We recently watched the president of Kenya come to the United States on a red carpet. Yes. He held a press conference with the U.S. president where they were talking about investing millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in IT and different businesses. The Kenya leadership, they're leading a multinational security um, security mission in Haiti. And there are countries across the globe that are coming in to support. We witnessed what happened in Senegal, where the people stood up against the system, the status quo. And now you have a 44-year-old young president in Senegal. Uh, Listen, you have an uphill battle. We understand the system in Liberia is very, very frustrating. But you have 5 years from now to put together a strategy as a young professional and a man who aspire to become the next generation of leaders in our country. Uh, the continent has about 60% of its young people. Liberia have about 48% of young people under the age of 18 to 25. In the next 5 years, that number is going to double. What is the strategy, right? And I mean a radical strategy, but one that is logical as well. What strategy are you putting together to start the process of actually convincing Liberians that it's time for young people in this century to take the method of leadership? I mean, what I want you to just elaborate a little bit more on that.
Okay. No, and honestly, a lot of things we're doing, it's not magic, right? You just hope, like what I'm hoping to be able to do over the next 6 years is exactly what I'm doing tonight. And so therefore, I thank everybody for the opportunity to be on this platform. The idea is that the hope and the idea is that Liberian people can see young transformational generational leadership. And it's not about, and I used to tell people, don't vote me because I'm young. Vote for us or vote for me, because of the education, the qualifications, the competency, the vision, the policies is there. And we are corrupt free. We have the character. That's what Liberian people should be voting for. But unfortunately, in Liberia right now, what we normally vote for again is, the man been running for a long time. We know the man. The man are my countryman. And so if we continue to do that, we will continue to fail. So last year, we announced our candidacy in January of 2023. You got 9 months to elections. And admittedly, the country did not know me. So I really appreciate the people who were able to join and fight with me. And that's why I appreciate Grace. And we have other people who really committed the times and effort. But to win an election in any country, you need two things. You need time and you need money. Unfortunately for us, we didn't have neither one. We did not have time announcing our candidacy 9-10 months before the elections. And unfortunately, we also did not have money. But this time, even over the next 5 years, we have time. Now, our ability now is to be able to get smart people, young-minded people like you as well, progressive people who want to see a different and change Liberia, to all be able to come together and support this vision of a new Liberia, a better and a more empowered Liberia. So listen, we are committed to seeing change in Liberia. And I don't have to be president only to be able to effect change. We are trying to effect change every single day. We will continue to. I'm so proud of the work I was able to do, in the previous administration under President Erling Johnson Sirleaf. So our goal right now is to not only be able to talk about the policies and where we want to see our country, but also for people to understand and know the type of work we have done before. Bringing Mount Coffee Hydro, to the country, being on the negotiation team, the Lofa road that's being built right now, helping to negotiate that. When we talk about even the ELWA road that's being built right now, I was one of the main people who helped to negotiate that. So these are things that we have to be able to tell the Liberian people, but then also tell the Liberian people that even that is not good enough. So over the next 5 years, we are going to be vocal. And that's one of the main reasons why we did not endorse anybody for presidency in the second round. We wanted to be critical and supportive of whoever won. And so that's why I'm clear. I didn't want to support somebody just to be looking for a job. No, I'm not into politics to look for a job. I'm in Liberia to help. I'm in politics to help to transform this country. And so over the next 5 years, we are going to be recruiting. So after I hang up this call, I'm going to call you too to also recruit you to come on board. But that's really what we are going to be doing over the next 5 years to ensure that the Liberian people know that we have to raise our standards, and there's generational change that is needed, progressive change that is needed in Liberia.
Thank you. My last question. A lot of people would like to know, so you can just insert this in there. Would you be open to running as a lawmaker as a starting point? Again, that's a question from folks. But I want you to spend a few minutes and just share your thoughts about the 100 days. The price of rice has increased. Gas prices are higher than they were 3 months, 100 days ago. The economy is worsening. Security, the rule of law. We're looking at all of these things that was heavily and fearlessly criticized by this current administration from the last administration. What are your thoughts on President Joseph Boakar's 100 days? And I want you to be blunt about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I will try to. The first thing is, would I consider running as a lawmaker? When I talk to people, again, you said for me to be blunt, and I like to be fair to the people. I truly believe when you look at all of the people who ran for president, I truly believe that I had more experience than everybody else besides George Weah, who has served as president, and Joseph Boakai, who had served as vice president and had the 40-year, career. But besides those two, if you looked at everybody else who was running, I had served at extremely high levels of government, whether it was minister, whether it was heading the delivery unit, whether working at the Liberian Embassy in Washington, D.C., whether working at the United Nations, whether working for the African Development Bank or the United Nations. So I'm very confident in my career so far, in my experience. The challenge that I'm facing, or I faced during the presidency, is that, typically in life, when you say you want to be president, people will kind of say, oh, you should be senator. If I would have said I wanted to be senator, people would have come and said, oh, you should be lawmaker. You should be representative. And then when you say I want to be representative, people will say, oh, well, go be town chief first. So the idea is, I don't think the reason why I never ran for representative or senator, because the problem in Liberia is not the laws. The laws is not the problem in Liberia. Liberia has some of the best laws in Africa. There's no law in Liberia that says corruption is legal. Yet there's corruption all over and nobody goes to jail. So in order to change and transform Liberia, it starts from the executive. And that's why I ran for president. No other reason. Because the executive is the sole unitary government agency. We have the judiciary, we have the legislative branch, and we have the executive branch. The executive branch can impart transformation in Liberia. And that's why I ran for president, to be able to help to transform this country. When you look at the 100 days, I think they had a false start in not being able to put their government fast enough. They won on November 15th or 16th. The full government should have probably been put together by January, late February. But we're still in the position where they're finding people to be able to put in places. And the challenge I think is happening, to be frank with you, is that UP did not realize that on November 16th, when President Boakai was announced president, party business was finished for them. It was now national business. And so I say that because, let's be very fair, there were still some good people who worked in the CDC government. Just because people worked under President Weah doesn't mean they were bad people or incompetent people. Same thing for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, same thing for Taylor, Dole, Talbot, and Tubman. There are always good Liberians in every administration. And so the mistake I think that's being made is that this party thing took over too much, and then they focused too much on, only UP people can get jobs. Only people that supported us can get jobs. Again, November 16th, I think, was the election day, is when the party mindset of UP should have ended. And so I think that really had a hindrance on their ability to deliver anything in the first 100 days. And I always, when I go around, I talk to people, I say, I am rooting for President Boakai to succeed, because his success is my success and Liberia's success. Right now, I'm very big into real estate. But nobody is going to come from out of the country and invest in Liberia if Liberia is not doing well. So we are all rooting for him to succeed, but the first 100 days should have been, Liberian people expected more. And then when you talk about the stats that you just talked about, the fact that gas prices continue to rise, now rice is in limbo. And even though the president told them to keep the price, I think at 16.50, right? It's not going to happen. These people are private business people, and they are not going to lose money. Very soon, whether that next week or the week after, the rice prices is going to go up to the 18.50 that the commerce minister talked about. So that's another issue as well. The government needs to be able to coordinate better. There's no reason why the commerce minister should say something on Monday and get it changed the very next day by the president. So I think there needs better coordination. I think the government also look at different political parties. And no, I'm not trying to find a job for myself, but there were people in CDC government who served this country well. There are people in other sectors abroad and here in Liberia who can help to form the government. And so that's what I think about the 100 days. We need to pick up the pace in terms of delivery. I saw a report that said only 10% of the promises made for the first 100 days were delivered. I don't know if that was accurate or not. I don't know if you were able to independently verify that. But even if you double it to 20%, that's still not good enough because, like I said before, and like Grace said, Liberia is way behind the other countries that are way behind. So we have no room for false starts right now. And I think that's why the people of Liberia elected Boyka, owning to his 40 years experience, but we have to see it. We have to see the government really start to pick up their speed in terms of delivery.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So just we going in this order. We'll go to those who came first, and then we in order. So we have Toga, and then we'll go to Kelabu, and then we'll go to Chuku, and then we'll go to Lofa, and then I'll come in, then we'll go around the corner again. But let's go to Toga for his two questions. Toga, we can't hear you.
Greetings from me. How are you?
Good.
Hey, how are you, brother?
I'm doing fine. I mean, last time we saw each other was at the Grand Bassa University Student Union's function in Buchanan.
Yes.
I think you were keynote speaker and I was chief launcher.
Yes, I remember that very well.
But it's good to see you again. Yeah, it's good to see you again. As a young man aspiring for a top role in the country, there are a lot of challenges that come with that. I don't know. You got a full statistics, first of all, of, for example, the towns and villages you went in, like Chris said, the number of interviews you did. What sort of statistics do you have about the young people of the country supporting you? And if they didn't, why you think they didn't?
The challenge we have in Liberia is that we are used to, like I said, the people of Liberia, and the argument I always made was the people of Liberia have been used to the two names of Joseph Boyka and President Weah since 2004. So it's a familiar name to them. And so even I gave the example when I came out and I talked to young people, they would be so excited. But because the young people didn't think I would win now, that I had a better opportunity in 2029, I had so many young people come up and literally pledge their support for me in 2029. And we're sitting there in July 2023 and people saying, damn it, man, in 2029, we will be behind you. So the reason of that is a mystery to me because I truly believe, right, that when the young people of this country, who again, and I will repeat, we are the ones who are going to be responsible to transform this country, nobody else, and I'm not trying to dismiss the older generation. They have their part to play as well. But if we are going to experience true transformation in Liberia, especially sustained transformation, it's going to be on the backs and the shoulders of the young men and women, the 75% of the people in this country who are under the age of 45. We have one of the youngest countries in the world. And so when I announced my presidency, I truly believe that the young people who were frustrated of the life that they are living, and when you go to the counterpart, don't even go to Europe, just go to Ghana, just go to Nigeria, and you see the young people, the opportunities they had. But again, all that means is that we have more work to do. And so we are willing to do the work. At the team, we always used to say that even if we lose, do not let anybody outwork us. And I think we lived up to that. And we'll continue to have that mantra throughout the next couple of years. Nobody will outwork us in terms of reaching out to the people, talking to the people, building alliances. We are going to work to earn the trust of the Liberian people so that they understand that if we are ever fortunate to take state power, Liberia will never be the same.
Now, there's this other issue about, and I don't know whether it had any impact on your election in any way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mostly take glory for some of the achievements under the Ellen's administration.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple of Liberians that strongly do have issues with the Ellen's administration. You play a senior role in that government, and you take cue from some of the achievements of the regime. What's about some of the excesses of the regime?
Mm-hmm.
Do you also take cue from them, just as you take cue from the successes? What's about some of the failures of the Ellen's administration? And at any point in time, did you get confronted with this?
You know, what I tell people is that I take credit for what I play a part in. And I think one of the primary things that really, gave the EJS administration a tough time was the fight against corruption. I used to say it and I continue to say it. Nobody has gone to jail in Liberia for corruption for the past 20 years. I think that has been a major flaw in every administration post-war. People need to start going to jail. And so the reason why I don't take, of course, there's so many opportunities that, that could have been done under the EJS administration. For me, I was more focused on infrastructure development and going to look for money, specifically again for White Plains Water Facility, Mount Coffee Hydro. I helped to oversee the Banga Road. But there's so much more we have to be able to do. I always say we cannot be content or complacent when we pave 20 miles of road, then we think that's development. No. So I think, when I started to work in government, being the youngest cabinet member in EJS's administration, I think what we had to do is that we had to demand more. But the flaw from that administration, the WIA administration, and what I hope will not happen in this administration is that the major thing that all of us have to take responsibility for is to ensure that people start to go to jail for stealing the Liberians' people money.
Just lastly,
all right, let's go to. We got a lot. We'll get back to you. Let's go to Kelly.
Okay.
No problem. Then we'll come back. Yes.
I thought we were asking two questions. He just asked one question.
Oh, so I want to ask one.
He asked me one question.
He asked two.
He did two.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Well, I was trying to call myself, so I asked three questions.
Thank you, Wesley. That's
where corruption starts.
Let Ellen June ask the question, please. I beg you.
Go ahead.
No, Dr. Molba, I'm happy to share the stage with you tonight. My name is Kelabo Gonglo. We haven't met, but I followed your different interviews on Spoon Network as well. But I have a lot of questions that I intend to engage you with tonight. And I'm sure we're going to have the second round, the third round, and all of you. And we get out of our share and be more the closing argument and ask the tough questions, But I will begin this way on a subtle note here. In 2017, President Bouakai, now President Bouakai, then Kennedy Bouakai, said the Ellen Johnson Sally, which you were a senior member of, close to working with the president, squandered opportunities. Do you agree with him?
you know,
You made a doctor take his glasses off, man. Colorful, slow down.
no, I like looking at him. You know, we hadn't met before, so I was trying to get his face. But yeah, but then when Sarah been in there, you got to take your glasses off. But listen, I think in every administration there are opportunities that have been wasted because of lack of human capacity or whatever the case is. When President Boycott talked about that, to be frank with you, I really thought that was going to haunt him more in this presidential election because he played a vice presidential role and admitted the opportunities that were squandered. I will leave that to him, to be honest with you, to determine what opportunities he thought was squandered. But from my perspective, to be very fair and frank with you, I had certain deliverables to deliver, which was in infrastructure development. I thought that the opportunities that I thought we should have done was, again, we were not as hungry or ambitious enough in getting more money into the country, more financial support, more infrastructure support. So one of your colleagues talked about Kenya, the Kenyan president going to the U.S. And I read the article today. They signed for $3.6 billion worth of infrastructure and development in Kenya. That has to be the mindset of Liberian leaders. The fact that, we're still waiting, but I think President Boycott went, I think a few weeks ago, right, to the United States, right? We should be, so the opportunities have to be looked at like this. What was deliverable? Because when the president travels to the United States with the delegation and the security, you're talking about minimum 100,000 US dollars that was spent for him to go. When you talk about the hotels, the travel, the per diem of all the things. So now the question has to be like, what did he bring back? So we now have to start to be able to do that, because even when I worked with President Sirleaf, we used to have a piece of paper that said, what is success on this trip? Meaning, what are we going to bring back? Why are we going to America? Why are we going to Europe? Why are we going to Asia? And so when you talk about squandered opportunities, that's what it means. You went to America, what did you bring back? And if you don't follow up, because I promise you, everybody wants to shake the hand of a president and take a picture with the president. But if your team does not follow up, then that's the squandered opportunities. And so the question is, will they continue to do so? But I think from my understanding, that's what he was talking about. The follow-up in Liberia has always hampered this country.
So, but you also, I'm okay. I don't want to do follow-up before you see you ask 2 questions. So I will leave it as that. But I want to come back to Grace Gua, who is your strong supporter on this network. Mm-hmm. A few weeks ago on this show, Grace Gua said she was a supporter of Alexander Cummings. The reason she left Alexander Cummings was that Cummings started to surround himself with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf rejects.
Correction. I was never a supporter of Alexander Cummings. I helped in his campaign because he was the only alternative at that particular time when he was running. I've never supported him. I told people to look into his campaign.
We're not going to play. I have to beat him over.
Let ask this question, guys.
We're running with time. We're running with time.
Yeah, so, okay, well, I'll ask my question.
Please do.
All of all listen, and the guy will answer me.
Right.
So a few weeks ago, she said she was a supporter of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The reason she decided to leave Cummings and follow you is because Cummings surrounded himself with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf rejects. And that night, I argued with her that, in fact, you are still working with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Foundation. You were a senior member in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf cabinet. You work closely with her. Okay? So, and I asked her, she was contradicting herself. My question to you, do you consider...
Governor already told me that my message, you were going to come for me. So, I'm waiting for you. That's how the money back answer the question. I will come for you,
Chris,
so please.
So, Dr. Molba, do you consider Ellen Johnson Sirleaf reject?
You can't be a reject, Chief. So, I like the wordplay you're doing, but,
I'm just asking, because that's what she said. I'm using your own words.
No.
But what did I tell you? What did I tell you? When I consider people to be Ellen Johnson reject means that people who are corrupt There was the reject. I'm talking about Dr. Monipa played his role. He did his job, and he has no corruption on his belt. Go check his record. I should need the people that got corruption on their belt because there's
Grace, let Dr. Monipa talk. The other guys, Alex and Julia, haven't talked yet.
No, but you know,
I'm making sure Grace. I will leave Grace next time.
no, but you know what? But I somewhat want to piggyback off of her response. In order to be an EJS reject, let's just use that word. It means that you were accused, found guilty, or just something in a negative tone. The reason why I'm proud of the work I did under the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, because I helped to negotiate hundreds of millions of dollars for Liberia, hundreds of millions of dollars. And not one single person in Liberia or around the world will ever say that Dr. Clarence Moniba asked for $1 or took $1, 1%, zero. So I'm so proud of the work I've been able to do in Liberia. And that's why when I first started talking, I said there are good people that have worked in every single administration. In this administration, in WIA administration, in Taylor, in every single administration in Liberia's history, there have been good people. And that's when I like to talk about my father, Dr. Harry Moniba. I'm so proud of the work he was able to do under the Doe administration. As much as people have some issues with the Doe administration, no single person in Liberia will ever say that Dr. Harry Moniba was ever accused of corruption. And so when I entered government and public service, I understood and I know that, God forbid, if I ever did something stupid, they wouldn't only say that Dr. Clarence Moniba stole, they would say the son of Dr. Harry Moniba, Dr. Clarence Moniba stole. And so I reject your statement of an EJS reject, if that makes any sense.
Not my statement, great statement. So,
okay, no, but you
know, you don't consider yourself a reject, which I take it. I serve in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government as well. I work there, okay? I don't consider myself a reject, right? So it's fair enough for you to say you are not a reject, which I agree with you, okay? But it is her words. I'm just using her words.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, and honestly, you know, and I think sometimes, listen, I had the opportunity to work under President Sirleaf, and I know we politicize a lot, you know, about her role in government, her role in Liberia's history, but we also have to understand the positive that she did bring to Liberia. Let's remember now, you know, people always talk about you know, the fact of Liberia. At a certain point in this world's history, Liberia was one of the most talked about countries from 2005 to 2017. There were so many NGOs and corporations and businesses that came into Liberia. And so I don't think anybody who worked under that administration should be embarrassed of anything. And even President Boyka, right now, the reason why he's president right now is because he worked in that administration. So people should be proud of the positive impact that administration had. Just like that, we are people, you know, there was limited impact, in all fairness, but for the people who are able to work and not steal money and not be corrupt, they also should be proud of the service to government, because again, we politicize a lot and we forget that at the end of the day, we are serving the country of Liberia.
Let's go to Alex Juju Jones. Guys, we want you to move with 2 questions because others have to talk, and Dr. Moniba will be with us again, if you wouldn't mind, for another hour before he goes, and we'll let him go. I mean, maybe around 7:30, and we'll be shutting down. But let's go to Alex, and then we'll go to Julius.
Dr. Peabody, please make sure you monitor the time and look at Julius, because as soon as I start talking, he was starting interrupting me when everybody had a chance to talk freely.
Go ahead.
But,
I think we're doing great.
Moniba,
Everybody's doing great, giving the French chance to say something here tonight. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So, Dr. Moniba, welcome to the show. And it's very nice to have you here. First of all, I want to say here for the record and those listening to my voice, I'm very biased. Okay? I'm biased towards you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay? So nobody should come here and say, I'm not going to ask you a difficult question. I'm not going to criticize you because, like you said, you work in the government, your record is clear. Until otherwise shown, I'll give you the pass. Secondly, and this is part of my question, but I'm going to frame it in a statement way. Most of the people here today on this show, and most of the people even in the editing administration, when you ran your campaign, you served your country diligently. You serve the older people. You serve Mother Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You serve in retrospect or in effect, you serve President Barker. I want to know from you, when you began your campaign, how many of these people publicly endorse you, gave a good statement about you, your record? So when you answer the question, when I finish my statement, please, I want you to please comment on that. And the reason I'm asking that question is because young people in Liberia are always used. They're always used. They're what you call bootlickers. You should carry the bag. You should support the campaign. You should be wearing a t-shirt. You should work in the government. But let a young person stand up and say, you know what? It's time for me to take charge. They all disappear like Nicodemus.
Exactly.
You were not yet. Then that's when the political, when you were up there supporting her, working for her, or so of all the other people. So I want you to really comment on that. How does it feel today, all the young people who did not step up to run for any position? You were in the trenches, in the villages, and most of these young people here were behind the scene politicians. Here was a young man who served. Here was a young man that said, I'm not in Liberia in the villages. You were there. And how many of them even gave you $1? The ones that you were fighting for today to say, come into the government to change the lives of all of us. Because I'm sure you, President, someday I will do well in Liberia. Lofa Julius do well. Everybody will do well because of your vision. And I'm sure you like you said, you get towards helping young people improve in the future. So I know it must be very, very heartbroken that we will talk the talk about change. But when we see a young person making an effort, then we attack them. Because I experienced the same thing. I didn't get attacked from the people in Liberia. I got overwhelming support. I could have stayed here and still won a sizable number. And not because of me, but because of what I stood up for. I stood up against the establishment. I stood up against corrupt officials. And I did not mend my words like you're doing here today. That's why I respect you, and I'm going to give you a pass, and I'm going to support you going forward in anything. I hope we work together going forward. So that's my statement today. Please answer that question, and we'll move forward.
No, Alex, and thank you for that, because, I always say, and, it's one thing, and you have experienced this, and everybody probably on the panel has also experienced it too. It's one thing to sit in your room and say, I'm going to do something. It's another thing for young or progressive people or educated people or qualified people to also say, you know what, we will support you. And so every time I get somebody who is competent, who is qualified, coming to say, you know what, we believe in your vision, it really emboldens me. It really lets me know that no matter how hard the road is, that I'm on the right track. And so when you ask the question about how many of my old colleagues, the thing I was most proud about is that even ministers, current ministers right now in this administration, even during the campaign, they would call me and say, oh, we're the old man, but damn it, my man, we wish you success. We know what you can do. And so that really helped me, because I felt like I had the respect of my peers. And just going around the country giving speeches, I don't think, unfortunately, not too many people, if any at all, have come to say you are not qualified, you are not competent. Only thing they say is that it was not your time. And so just going forward, you mentioned something about the young people galvanizing, coming together to insist and demand change. I spoke to some young people a week ago, and I told them that all of us have to raise our standards. And even for our politicians, no longer can we vote for somebody just because they came and built outside toilet. Then we say, oh, the man good. They gave you 500 liberty, so you put him there. We have to start to really look behind and peel back the layers and say, what has this man been doing? What is his corruption record? What is he saying about policies and how he wants to move this country forward? And if all young people like yourself, like me, like, the people on this panel, the people who are listening, if all of us can come together and start to demand more for our country, you will see that Liberia immediately begins to rise. The country of Liberia should be one of the best countries on the continent of Africa. And until we start to experience that, and until the young people of this country drive that. And so for me, that was inspiring for me that young people were supportive, even though they didn't vote. But it was disappointing that the young people of this country, we did not believe in ourselves. We did not quite believe in ourselves and said, let the older people take it, because we didn't have that trust and belief that we would be the change in this country.
Thank you.
Like, you done with your question? Then we'll go to Julius. Julius, go.
No. Today that Dr. Morba did, so I've got no more question. No further.
All right, Julius, let's go to you for your two questions.
Dear Issa, Gasu.
Kayangama.
You don't believe child is in your backyard.
Now, what are you talking about?
You know, if I can't go there, we try to do it.
Well, anyway,
to be frank with you, I was expecting that. I was going to be disappointed if that's not how you treated me. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad you expected that and you got what you expected.
Yeah.
Great to have you on here tonight. I've been following, and I apologize for the late appearance. Unfortunately, I had to go to the farm, and the birds were really busy. So you understand what I'm getting at. But I listened to you, and one thing that you highlighted is your clean record. Your participation in the previous government, the Eden-led government, which was considered corrupt and very corrupt to some extent, but you consider yourself clean and with clean hands, even though you are part of the government. My question here will be, what data do we have, or do you have, to substantiate your claim? Did you ever get audited? And if so, where can we obtain those audit documents to help validate your statement of being clean of corruption?
No, and again, thank you for that question, because it's so very important. Because
You're
everybody here in Liberia, when they're running for something, they say, "Oh, we're not corrupt," but we already know and understand who they really are. So the first thing I always say is that, fortunately and unfortunately, nothing hides in Liberia. Nothing hides. This country is too small. And just imagine, even though I entered the race late, I won't say I was one of the most talked about candidates, but people really went behind me, because the idea was, how dare you small ball, say you want to be president? So people wanted to just literally peel back the layers. And so it's so funny when I talk to people, I say, UP during this past election, they were the most critical on me, people I worked with. And so if there was anything, if I had taken one single dollar, trust me, by now, that would have come out. So that's why even when I announced, I asked people, I said, if anybody has ever heard anything in that vein from Dr. Muniba, they should come out. And so, I'm so proud when you talk to the people I worked with in that administration, you talk to the international partners, it's not easy for somebody like my level to have sat down with President Barack Obama, Tony Blair, people of that level. They don't sit down with just anyone. And so I'm very proud that I've been able to sit down and have one-on-one, conversations with them, to be able to interact with them. They don't do that for people who are taking 10%, 5%. In terms of an audit, I'm so clear, that I put my office up several times for audits to be able to come up with anything. And again, thankfully and confidently, nothing will ever be found, because I knew and I understood from day one that I decided to get into government. Somebody has to change the mold. Not everybody can join government to gain. I've been blessed. I've lived a very good life. And I understand that there are more important things than money, and that's legacy. I'm not only fighting for legacy for myself, I'm fighting for my father's legacy as well. So I say it again to this current administration that's there. Look at every single thing I've signed. Look at every single contract I negotiated in Liberia's history. Please go back and look at it and see if there will be one thing. And, I'm proud of the fact that it will not be found because I have the confidence in my ability to contribute to the development of Liberia without having to steal from the Liberian people.
They're not
Great. Says Grace, give me a second. Thank you.
Peabody, can I take 1 second to a quick follow up for Dr.
Kelebu, we gotta wait.
But y'all let the man finish, man.
Kelebu can't do that. Let's go ahead.
I have question on.
No, y'all let him finish.
Let's go ahead, guys. We can't interrupt him. He waited patiently. Let's give him the time.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Those of us from Lofa County, we're very patient. You notice that Dr. Moniba on here, he's relaxed and trying to address concern here, right? But here's the thing about the issue of audit, and I'll say this and pose my second question to you. Considering Liberia, when it comes to data integrity, based on my background, I have come to the realization that we don't even understand now do we value data integrity. And data integrity plays into the idea of honesty in audit and providing adequate and accurate information to the general public. In reference to that, we currently have a law that requires, or hopefully, I wouldn't even say require, probably require would be the wrong word to use, but is expected that public officials should declare their assets with the hope that they will publish it.
Yes.
They shield themselves with the law claiming that it is not mandatory that they publish their assets declaration because it is not required of them. So when we speak of audits and audit traits and try to make sure that, people are void of corruption or any of these things, and somebody say, there isn't any record of me contributing to any form of corruption in Liberia, it's a little bit hard for one to believe because vast majority of the accusations or the claims are based on hearsay. And I'll say that, but I'll close on this note and then go back to my second question here. Hopefully, when and if you're opportune to serve in that capacity as a president, you will strengthen the law on corruption and fight vigorously to create opportunity for the next generation of people. Like you said, you want to leave behind legacy. Now, my next question here is this. I would like you to just use the next few minutes and describe the 100 days performance of President Boakai, who came to power. You ran against him. You claim that you probably would have done far better off than he has done. And even though he came with 40 some more years of experience, in quotation, and thus far, the people are yet to even understand in which direction his government is heading. I want you to just give us a summary of what you think of his performance thus far for a man who came with 40 some more years of experience.
The first thing I want to talk about is that audit or asset declaration. And the fact, and this is where now, if we want to change the country, these are things that we cannot just sit by and watch happen. I think a few weeks ago, LACC came out and said only 75 of the 500 people, presidential appointees, have declared their assets. Immediately, you begin to see and become frustrated because speaking just as a regular citizen at this point, the country voted for change. So there's no way now we can be 5 months into the new administration and we have over 400 plus people who have taken office, who are taking salaries, who are riding in government cars, who are waiting for government fuel slips and not telling the people of Liberia what they have. That immediately, to be frank with you, should be immediate suspension without pay for everybody. That's when we will start to begin to realize that there is no longer business as usual. You cannot be a law. There cannot be a policy that says declare your assets. And then 75%, 80% of the people are just delinquent and nothing happens about it. So that also goes back to corruption. Nobody goes to jail in Liberia. What do we do? The only man who not Steve, your leader man. This is the mindset that is undermining our very foundation. And so when you talk about this, then you transition now to the 100 days. In the 100 days for any administration, it's very difficult to do much, but you can set precedents and examples of how your government will be run. So now going back again to what I just said, asset declaration, only 75 out of 500 people have declared their assets. So do we truly believe that we'll be cognizant and vigilant on people who are stealing the people of Liberia money? No, because we have no baseline. We don't know what the person came with. So in the first 100 days, that should be a primary focus. The other thing in the 100 days, right, that I thought took too much attention was the TRC report. That was so much noise while people are going to school hungry. While hospitals don't have any medication, we are sitting here for days, the Senate for days, the lawmakers, the representatives for days and weeks talking about TRC report. Talking about truth and reconciliation and war and economic crimes court. That's fine. But at the end of the day, to only have an executive order come out of all of that discussion, knowing that we still have fundamental judiciary issues. Right now, we're talking about, we'll have a war crimes court. We understand that foreigners cannot practice law in Liberia. Are we going to repeal that law? Are we going to allow foreign judges and investigators and lawyers to come to prosecute some of the people? That's a fundamental question that was never discussed. Let's go to 2003. Amnesty was given to those warlords. Are we going to repeal that as well? So these are fundamental questions. All Liberia talked about, war crimes code, war crimes code. How are we going to implement? Because implementation has been the problem in Liberia. Implementation has and continues to be the problem in Liberia. 3 years from now, we'll be sitting here, the War Crimes Court executive order was signed. There will be no court. There will be no prosecutions. The people who committed these crimes, and let's stop acting like we don't know who committed the crimes. So that's why even me, my disappointment was it was War Crimes Court, that was the focus, and not Economic Crimes Court. Everybody know who killed Doe. It's on video. But yeah, we're acting like, War Crimes Court before we bring justice to Liberia? How about the economic crimes that's probably happening today? How about the economic crimes that happened 3 years ago under the Weah administration? How about the economic crimes that happened under the Sirleaf administration? We are not talking that. So, my frustration is that in this 100 days, you would have wanted more policy-oriented tangibles to be able to say that in the next 6 months, JFK will be one of the best hospitals in West Africa. That has to be our standards. There's been no talk about that. Now we're talking about rice, but the discussion about agriculture isn't, we are going to ensure. One of my major policies is that, God bless us, every single county in Liberia must become a modernized food production zone. But in these first 100 days, we are talking about what? Let the price of rice go down. We're not talking about being self-sufficient. We're not even talking about the fact to import rice, you need $13 million in your bank account before you get a license to import rice. That's why when you see the picture of the importers of Liberia, all of them were Lebanese and Indian. Because how many Liberians can even afford to bring rice into the country to sell? So again, these are the discussions that should be happening in the first 100 days. How do we incorporate Liberians into our own economy? President Weah said, "Oh, Liberians won't be spectators." Unfortunately, we were not even spectators. We weren't even in the stadium. So now we come to this administration and we're not discussing the real issues. And the real issues is how do we get money in the hands of Liberians to make sure they are playing part of the role in the budget. In the creation and the growth, the economic growth of Liberia. So even when you look at the budget, it's not there. 90% of the money in the budget is recurring costs. There's no growth. There's no growth. So in the first 100 days, the budget for me was a disappointment, huge disappointment. The fact again that you can spend more money on government vehicles than you can spend on ambulances for the sick. The fact that there's no money for true growth, we are yet again waiting for our partners and friends who have their own troubles in their country, and they're only here giving us piecemeal, and we are happy with that. So for this country to change, we need transformational thinking. We need progressive thinking. And that's what we should have been demanding from the 100 days. And I hope that it continues, that it gets better in the next 100 days and the next year. Like I said when I first sat down, President Boycott Kuhn administration, their success means we will succeed because that means Liberia is better. So it cannot be business as usual. First thing, if I was the president today, every leader, every government official who has not declared their assets should be immediately suspended. That's the type of leadership that we want. That's what we demand. That's how we'll move the country forward. Let people start being accountable to the people of Liberia. You are not accountable no more to President Boyka. Anybody working for government, you're accountable to the people of Liberia. So these are things when we talk about 100 days, that's what I wanted to see.
Thank you.
Your next question. You done?
I asked 2 questions. I did ask 2 questions.
Yeah, okay, let me go. Let me ask my question. Dr. Maniba, always good to see you again. I want to ask you a question on this tenure position. This probably happened under President Selly's administration. Joe Baca was vice president. But you talk about transparency in our country. And what we witnessed a month ago with President Baca and the Supreme Court ruling, and then with less than 24 hours, we saw the reversal, and then the Supreme Court refused to pick up the case again. I'd like to hear your input on that.
And please elaborate a little bit more when you talk about that.
All right, because the Supreme Court ruled that Vice President Baca should withdraw his appointees to especially the LTA, and said that it was illegal and he should withdraw his nominee and all of that.
Because of tenure.
The tenure, yeah. Less than 24 hours. Yeah, go ahead. You got the question. You got the question now?
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, I think it's a very slippery slope when we start playing with tenured positions. It was put in for a reason. It was put in because these positions should be outside of presidential influence. We already know and understand that we have an imperial presidency in Liberia. The president is too powerful already. So it becomes a slippery slope when you start to look at and change tenured position people. The only caveat is that when these people are up for audit or when there has been accusations of corruption in certain entities, then immediately those people should go under investigation. Pending that result, then you can temper with the tenureship. But I think we have to be careful. If somebody has tenure, regardless of the issues, if you don't like the person, if the person is a party member or not, they should maintain that tenureship until or unless there is accusations of corruption that should then be investigated. And then if found guilty, then immediately you lose your tenureship. But it's a slippery slope, and the people should be allowed to fill out their terms unless, I will say it again, there are issues of corruption or financial impropriety.
All right, let me ask you my second question. You did a lot of work on the road project in Liberia. In fact, prior to the election, you were on the closing acumen 2 or 3 times, and you talk about the work you did in the different counties, the negotiations for millions of dollars on the road project and all of that. the Minister of Public Works was on this show. He talked about contract in less than 90 days, in less than 60 days that he awarded, maintaining some contractors. He said that they were so in this because of the president mandate for the first 90 days and all of that. But he could not tell us what the economic benefit when Professor Kennedy asked him the question, how many Liberians would benefit in terms of jobs and other things. He could not tell us. Do you think that those contract was awarded in a transparent way, or was it less than 90 days? You spent almost $24 million giving a contract, and some of those people were the very people who did not even do the job. They gave them contract before, they don't do the job, and you still retain those people.
And so that's why, again, we have to understand that the first 100 days should be more about setting the direction of your government than trying to force projects. Because the most important thing when you come to a government expenditure is the PPCC laws, is the ability to be able to get your 3 to 5 bids, to be able to evaluate it, to bring it down to 3 people, and then have all of them be able to give you value for money. The minute you begin to sole source, you are getting into a very dark situation, because who are you sole sourcing to this person and why? Do you know that person, that your friend, that your cousin? And so that's why, again, when the 100 days, how much did they say that they gave contract for? 22 million, right?
Yeah.
22 million. So now this is where we as Liberians, because I don't like to call myself opposition. Only in Liberia we become opposition. We are politicians and citizens who want to see a better Liberia. But now this is where we all should be demanding to look into those contracts that were given. Who received the money? When was the money paid out? Why were they selected? Because even when you sole sourcing, because I worked with PPCC a lot when Doa Jala was at PPCC and I was in government giving out, and negotiating contracts. There has to be a clear line of national interest in order to give a sole source. So we have to be able to see, I know the Minister of Public Works, we worked under the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government together. So he knows, because he also worked in the PDU. So he should also now be able to come and give us the reasonings for the sole source, the ability to be able to show us why they selected a company. And if we start to do this in this country, then you will start to see better results for the investments that this country is making. So again, I would expect, especially you guys have a national platform, that has to be the next call. Okay, $22 million was given out. Let's account for every dollar. What company got it? What did they do? Then we should be able to send people to see if the work was done. Then you will start to see transformation in this country. When people are scared to spend government money, people have to be scared to spend government money.
All right, guys, we got 30 more minutes with Dr. Modiba. So we want to reduce our question to one at a time. Let's go back to Grace. But before Grace, I know Ketabo had a follow-up question. You want to go ahead and do your one question, Ketabo, on that? And then we'll go to Grace.
What? So Ketabo will take my time?
No.
Supposed to wait for his turn?
No, I don't want to do a follow-up. I made a comment. I don't want to. Grace, you go.
If you talk right now, that would be a one question.
Grace, go ahead. Go ahead, Grace.
I'm not going to do a follow-up.
Well, I don't know what between the two. I don't know what the two of you.
He knows. You know what? Let me just ask my one question. Look, this is the reason why that the money back for me that all day. Yeah, my hustle, my children. In fact, my son is in college. He's doing computer science. And the reason why he got encouraged to go and do that because of Dr. Moniba. Let me tell you how. Dr. Moniba went to college. He was a C student in high school. When he went to college, he became 4.0. My son said he did a research on Dr. Moniba. He said, what? How he did that? He said, Mommy, I promise you, I'm going to be 4.0 by 4 years. And he was 3.5. So let's see how far he goes. He got 3 years left. Yeah, but that's one of the things I just wanted to say to Lofa. Dr. Moniba is not responsible to audit himself. A glass ceiling audit has to be done to all government officials back in for any time. and we are waiting on the government to do that. So that the Moniba cannot do his own audit. We rely on hearsay because in like brought nothing has, as he said. So
Chris,
we rely on hearsay until the
Chris, the
government.
question was your office audited? And he addressed it. I did not ask whether he audited
Exactly, but
himself.
I just saying it
So-
wasn't audited because you know that no office will audit in Liberia anyway. So that the Moniba office will not be audited because the government that getting into power these last 6+ years did not do any audit. So Dr. Moniba is not responsible to audit himself. We need a glass ceiling auditing the government that passed, plus this government and the last government before that, for the Liberian people to see clearly who was stealing our money and who responsible for stealing our money. That our people are in the rural area dying because they can't get food to eat. So that's what I wanted to say on that part. Secondly, to conclude, I push for
Yes, are you asking your question or you?
No,
everybody else supposed to question.
Okay, Dr. Moneyback got he has the time to talk.
Raise our podcast.
Chris, I think you're taking away from this man's ability to defend himself.
My question to my young last 2 minutes asking one question. I have to lay my premise. I have to lay it. So give me that chance. Conclude, I push for coming in 2017. I was the one that broke politics into the entertainment industry in Liberia. If you don't know, so I'm not kind to boast, but we did some stuff. And I spent money to do that because I wanted the musicians and the actors of Liberia to be in the body politics when it came to voting so they can vote the right people in to be able to push the agenda from all angles. And that's what I did. At the time in 2017, Cummings was the only alternative at that time. I did not even did I have that real trust that he could carry the country forward compared to the other people that were there. Yes, I did. So I wasn't part of his campaign. I only pushed because I wanted the people to see the alternative and see who they wanted to vote for, and I did that. There was going to be no way that anybody in this campaign I was going to go for anybody else. So that be clear on that. Also, Dr. Monica, I want to share something. I hope Lofa Julius put it up because Lofa can be something else.
Grace has gone 4 minutes.
No, I hope Lofa Julius share this because Dr. Moniba has a county pride initiative going on, and I want him to elaborate on that county pride initiative. I also want him to tell us how far is he going to go with this, and also with the project. And what is his next step in this project? Because the one he did in Lofa County is so beautiful. I really love it. Although I knew about it, but when I saw it up, I was just amazed. So I wanted him to elaborate on that. I would like to ask Lofa Julius, please, sir, can you please share the thing he did in Lofa, the country initiative, the tower he built for the world? Welcome to Lofa County. I'll put it in the chat room. Thank you very much.
So Dr. Moneyback.
I mean, the people just jumping down my job. I'm going to hear on the platform.
Okay, let's go to Robert. Robert, ask a question.
So
Thank you.
Okay, so should I respond to
You can respond.
Yeah, go ahead.
Grace is
Go ahead.
right now, so you can respond, Doc.
Okay, no, and thank you, Grace, for bringing that up because our foundation, the Moniba Foundation, we are trying to also redefine how we as Liberians look at Liberia. Like I said, unfortunately, we have a very negative perception about Liberia. Even the world now is starting to have a very negative perception about Liberia. And if you go on the internet, like I was saying, you type in Liberia, you will see Ebola, you will see civil war, you will see every negative thing about Liberia and nothing positive. And so the reason why we started and initiated the County Pride Initiative is that every single county, and thank you, Lofa, put that up there. Every single county, when you enter, you're going to see a humongous 21-foot billboard, 21-foot wide, 14-foot tall billboard that identifies the county, but more importantly, what that county is known for, the pride of that county, of the citizens. So if you can see it right here, what they're showing, for Lofa, which was the first one we did, it says, "Welcome to Lofa, the breadbasket of Liberia and home of Mount Wolokisi." And then, we display all the tribes that live in that county. We have a positive message on the back. This country is too small a country to fight. We must unite. Of course, that was a message from my father, Dr. Harry Moniba. and then we have a one Lofa. So we have broken ground, working with the authorities in Magibi. We have just broken ground in Bong. We are looking for a location in Nimba, Basa, Bomi, and Kidmount. So every single county is now going to have this beautiful place that you can take pictures. We are putting chairs there. We want to start to promote the culture of Liberia. We want people to start having pride in Liberia and being Liberian. So we have to start to show the beauty of Liberia and not only the negative. And that's what the foundation, that's what we're fighting for, to be able to show to Liberians that we have a beautiful country if we work together, if we stay united. So that's really our focus on that Counter Pride initiative. So continue to look for it coming up. Like I said, we've broken ground in Magibi, we've broken ground in Bong, we're looking for a place in Nimba, and very soon in the next year, you're going to see them all over the country.
Thank you.
Robert, go ahead, everyone.
Thank you, Doc. I believe this will be my last question to you. Like I stated at the inception of your appearance, is always intriguing listening to you. I just have, and what we just watched, tourism is a passion of mine. I think that every county needs something like that. And so I would encourage you guys, whatever you guys are doing further, have that in mind. I think cultural tourism and ecotourism will be the starting point of tourism expansion in our country. But I have a bit of disagreement with you. When you mentioned the amnesty that some warlords talked about, I just want to give clarity to that, because I'm a strong advocate for war and economic crimes court. I think those who committed hideous crimes in our country have passed their due date in court, and they must appear in court. So for the purpose of clarity, I just want to say the amnesty that was asserted in whatever agreement in 2000 after Charles Taylor left cannot be equated to international law. International laws such as genocide, crimes against humanity, and other humanitarian international law are not accepted. And so everyone who committed crimes in Liberia, the Prince Johnson, the Butnick, and others, who felt as though the amnesty was on the skip of accountability for crimes against humanity in Liberia, are probably not educated enough to understand the crimes that they've been alleged to have committed. I just want to be clear. I think that this Waka government is a failure already in its first 100 days. We did not expect any different from them, but I think this is one area that I will give them credit, objectively speaking. But I want to ask you this question as you exit. You have a lot of work to do. And I know how frustrating this can be. And I know that you want to serve your country. Outside of the presidency, and I see exactly where you're coming from. The biggest decision maker in our country is the president. So to impact change at the level that you want to impact change, you have to be at the executive mansion, right? At what point? You're 45 years old. At what point would it be too much for you? When it gets to the point where you feel like come 2029, it's not successful, you go again. At what point would you give up?
I would give up when we have the country that we all want. I don't want to be president just for president's sake. I want to be president to effect change in Liberia. So honestly, if I feel like there is leadership in this country that has fundamentally changed the very nature of our country, where the typical child in River G can go to a classroom and be able to sit down on a computer, where we are self-sufficient in food. Let's look at the ports. We spend so much money in ports. Simple things that we should be able to change. If that happens, right, and I'm confident in that leadership, then I don't have to be president. I can help to support whoever is president to transform Liberia in any way. There's so many ways to help to effect change. But to the point you alluded to be able to lead the change, to ensure that we have the change that we want. Fortunately or unfortunately in Liberia, it has to come from the leadership. A country can only be as strong as their president. The country is only as strong as their president. And so because of that, we will continue to work with like-minded individuals again. But I just quickly wanted to go to that point you raised. You're right about the War Economic Crimes Court, but there will have to be some type of international courts to be able to prosecute these people. Let's look at Liberia's history. One person is in jail for the 250,000 people who have died, and that's Charles Taylor. And only because Sierra Leone got involved through The Hague. So again, the reason why it's good that we are making progress on the war, and I would stress economic crimes court. I think that is just as important, if not more important now than anything else, is because the economic crimes is killing. The economic crimes has killed more than 250,000 people in Liberia. Every time we are stealing money, that's money taken away from hospitals. That's people dying on the bad roads because people are taking away and buying houses in Europe and America and stealing money for, whatever the case is. So that's why I continue to stress economic crimes court, which you also did as well. So I just want us to be clear, because a lot of people who did a lot of wrong in this country still feel they have amnesty because of that 2003 wording or verbiage about amnesty. That happened during the war. So I want us to be clear. It's an executive order, but 3 years from now, it has to be way more than that. It has to be way more than just an executive order or just setting up an office.
Thank you.
Let's go to Kelabu's off. Let's go to Chuku Alex, and then when the guys come, we'll ask that question.
Yeah, all right. Dr. Moniba, as you very well know, in Liberia, we have a very corrupt media. I experience it. I would even consider them media. Basically, they are politicians, propaganda machines. And they do a worse. I think they should be added to that code because they appeal propaganda, the lies, the corruption. It's killing a lot of people in that country. Yes. Okay. And so I know that's one of the uphill battles that we as the next generation of leaders have to fight to make sure that these people are not allowed or do not go unanswered. Because as everybody can see here, any leader that can come out to the public, right, unscripted, and answer whatever question, gain my respect right away. There are people in our government who will not show up on platform like this. Yeah. There are politicians who will not show up. When the president died, President President Boyka, that claim they want to be leaders of a country. And you can't sit with, independent panelists like this to answer questions. You're not fit to be leader. What are you going to do when you go to the Business and Economic Forum? You're going to carry your corrupt media behind you? What are you going to do when you go to international conferences? So I commend you. Like I said, I do my research, and so far I've never been wrong in Liberian politics. Everything that I predicted has come through. Everybody that I've supported or taken my support from them, they've been a failure. So I can clearly say I'm very confident in you and your leadership, and I will work strongly with you. We'll have a series of discussion. But to follow up my question, what I want you to do, I want you to come to appear in the media more. If you don't appear, have your team. And Grace's been doing an excellent job.
No,
because if people don't hear you, then you will have all the SKTV and the Focus on Liberia and the corrupt spoon media. They are pushing their people, and the George Lopo, they are pushing their people. So by the time the Lofa Julius or whoever, they're pushing their people. So we have to fight them intellectually in the media. That's why I'm here. I'm not here because I should be playing tennis. I play tennis almost every day. But I made it my business until I can get a replacement to come and represent individual views away from the full major political parties, I'll be here. I'll do my best. So please, I'm calling on you. You're a very eloquent man. You know the subject matter. Show up wherever. And I know, like you say, you did hundreds of interviews. So I'm very confident that the more you show up, the more the Liberian people will see you. And, you know, the youth will get behind you and will change that country. Thank you very much, sir.
No, thank you. Thank you. And to that point, Alex, Lofa will respect himself. He will soon come on board. Don't worry. Lofa will soon come on board. But no,
because he's here attacking me. He said, 1 minute. He's here attacking me instead of the corrupt politicians. Instead of people who destroy the counties and who are in the war economics crimes code. Poor Alex Jones that are trying to fix the country, that are trying to provide solution. By the way, I just wrote the proposal for rice production in Liberia. If anybody who's interested, go on my page. It's a detailed thing how we can produce rice by next year. So it's on my page.
Now you believe in rice production?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Alex.
It's a proposal. It's a proposal for the Liberian government, and I call on President Walker.
But you opposed it 2 days or a few days ago.
Go and read it. Go and read it first before you come back and ask me a question.
Let me ask my question.
Go and read it.
We'll get into that.
When Dr. Maniba go with your please respect
Thank you. Yeah.
You're muted, Dr. Peabody.
So ask your question, Kelebu.
Okay.
Ask your question.
Is it
and
me
then
or
we're going to go far. And then Dr.
All
Maniba will do closing. We'll be closing in the next 20 minutes.
Thank
guys.
you. I'm just like Alex Jones. He talked about playing tennis, but this year I'm a registered member of the United States Tennis Association, and for the spring and summer season, I've played 3 matches and I won 3 out of 3. You can check the website. My name is there. I play tennis every day, so I don't know about Alex Jones, but I've been participating in competitive matches. So I can.
Whenever I see you, Kelebu, we'll have a set. Whenever I see you,
two of y'all need to play.
So I will beat him. So, but you know, it's unfortunate that because of the time difference, I have a lot of questions. I wrote down about probably 12 questions, but this was not a show for me to ask you all the 12 questions. So I have to pick and choose. And please forgive me, I'm asking you a question that appear tough and maybe guato to some people, but because I have to make a choice between what to ask. I really want to engage you on policy issues and what have you, but others are doing the policy issue, so I have to go to the other issues, okay? I even have disagreement with the whole idea of young leadership. If you look at the statistics for the past 18 years, even in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, where you were a key minister, young people dominated the cabinet. Young people dominated our cabinet. The young people in Liberia are very corrupt. So the question in Liberia should not be about young or being old. It should be about integrity and character of people, not about age. And for me, that has been my issue. And I think in your opening statement, you alluded to some of that statement that you told young people, vote for me because of my confidence and what I can do. And I think that should be the argument. This whole Alex Jones thing about young, I can point out to you in history so many young people who are turned to dictators, who have led their country to crisis. We can do that, but it's not a show for that tonight. We're not going to argue that. But I'll go, say I have one last question. I'll go to my last question on this. And please forgive me if you don't agree with this question. In 1996, Nelson Mandela was constrained to divorce Winnie Mandela when she was charged and convicted for kidnapping Stumpy Mackenzie or something like that. And later the boy was found dead. And I think other charges were to follow. So as president of South Africa, as a moral conscience of the South African government, he was made to divorce her based on that. And I watched that show this morning. I replay your old appearance on Spoon last year when you were contesting. On that show, you said you didn't have a girlfriend. You are not married. Okay? So, and a president of any nation is a moral conscience of that society. You are a role model for many young people. And Mandela, I was one of those who follow him, who felt that Mandela didn't need to get married again. He's old, he divorced his wife, he should just be president of South Africa. But Bishop Desmond Tutu and other clergy people convinced that you can't be president of South Africa without being married. You should marry to set a moral standard, example for the society. And he did. So my question to you is, since you are not married, you don't have a girlfriend by your own admission. Do you intend to get married before 2029?
But what if the main fun of woman? What if the main fun of red one yet?
All the punches you got.
Yeah, and so that's always.
But my thing is, Jeremiah Kun was never married before he became vice president.
If you bring Kun here, that's a. I think we're not even go to bed.
Okay.
He has a colossal record of corruption and criminality. It's a different thing. Let's talk this one. Dr. Moliba is far better than Kun, so let's forget about it.
Thank you. To be honest with you, that was one of the most asked questions for me. And listen, I'm looking, and when I find the right woman, I will marry them. I'm not going to get married just.
That's it. Just to be president. I mean,
honestly, I've been saying I can't marry a woman just to marry her, because my entire life, and this sounds. But my entire life, honestly, is now committed to empowering Liberia. So anybody that joins me in marital, matrimony has to be somebody who is willing to sacrifice every dollar we have for the people of Liberia. It can't be a woman that go, oh, I want car, oh, Dr. Moniba, oh, you be me in Liberia, so I need this. No, it has to be somebody who is willing to help to uplift the women and the children of Liberia. And so, listen, I'm open. I know there was some TikTok, some girl, I won't say her name, but she created this whole fake marriage thing for me a couple of weeks ago. It went viral. I had people from the U.S. calling me. I am blessed. I do have one son. I'm so proud of him. He's young, 11-year-old. But I am looking for somebody. If I find the right person, I'll get married. But the last thing I always tell people is that throughout Liberia's history,
we open it up right
guys, you guys are kind of disrespectful. Let him talk, guys.
Let Dr. Modiba finish.
Let him land so we can get,
So we can joke more now.
I'm straight. I don't play. I'm straight on it.
What I was going to say was that throughout Liberia's history, every president has been married, and we still have the country we have. So the people of Liberia have to know and understand that being married does not make a good president. And so, some lady came to me, oh, Dr. Moniba, I read your profile. You saw this, you saw that, but why you not married? I said, okay, sorry. What else you want me to say? But we have to understand that being married does not necessarily make somebody a good leader. It does not stop them from being corrupt. It does not stop them from understanding the laws and the values of the people of Liberia. I respect the values. I respect the institution of marriage. And the one perfect marriage, every marriage has problems, but my mother and father, Dr. Harry Moniba and Minita Moniba is listening to me right now. The example they showed me of what true love is in a marriage is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And when I find that, we will get married. And
don't even worry, my brother. Keep selling your market.
All of y'all will be invited.
Yeah.
Lofa, go ahead. Lofa got one question, and then I will ask one question.
Yeah.
And then
By the way, Kelabu, are you married?
Thank you, Alex.
I've been married for 30 years.
So let me first of all start with this, and I'm gonna go. All right. So thank you. I want to start with this, and I'm going to go back just to elaborate on my previous question because I'm heavily on the issue of corruption. Corruption in Liberia is the key reason why we find ourselves behind. In that regards, let me give credit to whom credit is due. My auntie who's watching right now, Famara Soko, Bandi, taught me those few words from Gandhi that I actually engaged you with. So I hate to be corrupt. So for Mala Soko, I credit you for that. But in that regard,
Tell Essa.
There you go. Yep. You actually you solicited assistance during your campaign. You were giving funds, which I believe public donated to your campaign. You ran a foundation for several years. I did my research. I may be wrong, but I did not find anywhere you you submitted a public report on your campaign funds that may have been solicited from the public. You will agree with me, for a man who believes in transparency, it is only fair to provide such information to the public as to how much may have been solicited and how funds may have been used. But most importantly, for a man who believes in transparency and the idea of integrity, you would have done that. I did all my research. That information did not come up. I did a couple research on your foundation. I am yet to find any update on, like, as far as like financial report or anything of that nature. Can you speak to this? Tell me or tell us, why is that the case? Do you have one? And let's focus on your campaign here. Your campaign financial report. Did you publish one, or you just following the typical Liberian standard where you just solicit funds, use it, and then after the campaign you walk away because you're not obligated to providing this kind of information, or you sincerely believe in the change that you preach every day, and for that reason you will transform the way things are done?
No, your research is wrong. We had to, all candidates and political parties had to submit a full disclosure about funds raised, funds accounted for, and reported. So we actually turned ours in a couple of weeks ago. So every single campaign had to do that.
A couple of weeks ago you did?
Yes. So NEC itself.
Who did you? Okay, to NEC. So it's not
so to NEC, which is you send it through your party chairman and it was submitted. So that, so from our standpoint, we have been able to do that to account for everything. When you go to, so that one is fine. We did our full reporting and sent it in.
So when you go to Dr. Moneyback,
say that again.
You submit that to the LCC, but it is not
NEC.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the National Election
have not published it to the public. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
But that was completed. So where you have to talk about how much money was spent, how it was spent, everything else. So that was the detail that was completed. So that's one. Then the second thing is you talked about the Moneyback Foundation accounting. That one, and you said you did your research. Since 2009, we have had our foundation up and running. 501c3, which is every single year. It's a full tax report, and not necessarily an audit, but a reporting system of how much money was raised, how much money was expended, how it was expended, and what you did with it. And so all of that, we have been compliant the entire time with the U.S. government. As well as we are fully registered here in Liberia, which you have to also do similar. So we are fully fine on both accounts. From the election cycle, we've been able to do what, produce our report. And then also from the foundation cycle, where we are fully up to date with the United States government and the IRS.
Maybe I may not have been very clear. I spoke. I was not here. I just wanted to be clear that I wasn't speaking of your legality or your current standing with the United States government. I spoke on financial update to the general public, and you spoke of the fact that you're up to date with the information with the United States. Fine, but you would think that as an institution that actually solicit funds from the general public, you will also provide public record financially to them. And I have not seen that.
We do to all of our funders. So what you have to do is to give us some money, and then we will get the
And I have a 501c3 as well. You're not obligated to publish. You report to those.
It's not the issue of obligation.
No, but you report to those who donors. You're fine. You don't have to.
I do have a 501c3 too.
So you don't have to. The rest you want to do that. That's fine. But you do.
Ask this question. We shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, we can't go. That's his question. We can't go there, But Dr. Moneyback, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I mean, let me say to you, I will ask you one question, but let me say to you, I don't know what's wrong with Liberia and what's wrong with Liberia. That's a country where we see good and go for bad. We have a history of saying the good and go for bad. There's no doubt. The first day you came on the closing argument, I knew you were a perfect candidate to lead Liberia. And we talk about it after the show. We had conversation in different areas. But Liberians do know what they want. With that said, what's wrong with Liberia? Can you talk about what is it that Liberians are not educated to vote for change? Why they are always voting based on instant gratification? Why?
One word: poverty. Poverty. And so, because the system in Liberia has been so bad for the typical Liberian, where a lawmaker who is broke one day becomes rich the next day or the next week. So the typical thinking in the Liberian people are now, since when you get there, you will not do nothing for me, you will pay me now. You will give to, because if I vote for you and then you forget about me, okay, fine. I did it one time, I did it two times. This time, you will put money in my hand before I vote for you. And so that's the idea about instant gratification. The assumption is that no matter who goes into government, nothing will change. People will continue to suffer. Their children will continue to suffer. There will be no jobs. There will be no road. They will be sleeping in darkness. The mosquito will be biting them. So as a result, give me now. And so in order to change that, we have to start to have hope for a better tomorrow, hope for a better future. And that's why, sometimes you can be disappointed in our lawmakers, in our elected candidates from the presidential level all the way down, because there's so much hope placed into them. And so again, that's why when you look at the budget, I will go back to that, and you see the typical lawmaker making at least $8,000, and the typical teacher making $200, 50 times more than the. How are you going to not demand instant gratification? I have a lot of friends who are in the legislature and as senators. When I go to their offices, when you see the place filled up with 20 or 30 people waiting just to beg them for money. But it's because of that, because in Liberia, we are also not good to ourselves. In Ghana, whose budget is way bigger, I think 4 or 5 times bigger than our economy, their lawmakers make about $3,000 to $4,000. Our economy, $700 million, and our lawmakers, 103 of them, their offices account for almost $40 million. So that's why people don't truly believe in government, because the government has been failing them for decades. For decades. If you are the typical Liberian right now, you listen to me, you sleeping in darkness on the floor, and your roof probably leaking. And then somebody come in front of you and say, "Oh, vote for me, I will change your life." You will say, "Move from here, give me money. If you want my vote, give me money." And so, in order to change this country, we have to change that mindset and mentality. So that's why, some of us, sorry, that's why some of us are into politics, are in this country to sacrifice, to be able to show the Liberian people that it can get better. We just have to believe in a brighter future and a brighter tomorrow.
Could you give your closing argument? Could you give your closing, Dr. Monaba? It was a pleasure, a real honor having you here today. I hope you come back. The election over. I mean, maybe you can even be a panelist on this show. We'll love to hear.
I don't. I don't want Gonglo asking me if I find one more year every day. So, but listen,
I just watch your old show. That's what it is.
no, honestly, first I want to thank everybody for what they're doing. Honestly, the role you are playing, and I'm not just saying this, but it's so important to the democratic process. If people are not checkmating the government, if people are not having these debates and discussions, the country will not go anywhere. The country will not go anywhere. We need independent-minded people who are not dependent on government salary to be able to question the government. And then more importantly, we need leaders, in our society, people like me and everybody else, to be able to come on the show and be accountable and be accountable to everybody here who's listening, the thousands of people who's listening, as well as you all who are on the panel. And then, of course, I have to say thank you to Grace as well, a strong advocate of mine. I really appreciate. I've never met Grace. I just talked to Grace on the phone, but I mean, she was such. We had a lot of dark days during the campaign. Where there's no money, doesn't look good in terms of winning or anything, and they were always positive. She and Vera, who's also in the diaspora, and so many other people I can name right now that have been so supportive of what we're doing. At the end of the day, I think all of us want the same thing, which is a better Liberia. We want Liberia to be better tomorrow than what we have today. But it goes back to the idea I always talk to people about. Let's forget about government for right now. Government been around since 1847, and people are still suffering. People are still hungry. Tomorrow, people. I felt so bad when we were breaking ground in Mankibi. This young boy, he was like 14-year-old. He just came. He just walked to me, lay down on the ground, and started cleaning my shoes. You could tell he had not eaten. You could tell he was so desperate. The only thing he could think about was to lay down in front of me and start cleaning my shoes. These people deserve more. These people deserve better. Our children deserve to go to better schools. Our mothers and fathers deserve to go to better hospitals. Our roads deserve to be better. But we have to demand more from the lawmakers. When you look at the budget that has passed, you understand that the suffering, the money is going to stay in the hands of the 1%. Again, why is it that the richest people in Liberia are Lebanese and Indian? Are we not asking that fundamental question? It's not bad for them to be rich, but you're trying to tell me no Liberian can be rich unless he served in government and stole money? These are questions we have to be asking ourselves. And if we don't ask ourselves, then we should be ashamed of engaging in any national conversation. Why is it that after 170, 80 plus years, our staple food of rice, we are still waiting for people in India to grow food for us to eat? These are fundamental questions we have to be asking. Why is it that lawmaker budget is bigger than any agriculture budget? Why is it that in the education sector, most of the money in education sector just goes to barely paying teachers $20? Why is it that lawmakers are taking $100,000 per district to decide what to do with it? That is not your job. That is not your function. These are questions we have to be asking. And if we don't ask this question, then we are not doing the service to the Liberian people. So again, I just want to thank everybody again for the closing argument, for giving me the opportunity. You guys are doing an excellent job. Continue. For the people who are not supporting me, at least we all have a common goal, which is Liberia. People like Alex who I haven't met, but we're so very, supportive of what we're trying to do. I really appreciate it. Because like I said, when people come on board and join you in your effort and fight and dream for our country, you can only say thank you. So thank you to everybody who listened. God bless all of us. God bless Liberia. Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Doc. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
Peabody, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Maliba. I love to just listening, but it was so great having you, sir, and just wish you a pleasant weekend. We're looking forward to see you here more. Just keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God bless you. God bless
I don't know how to say bye in Bandi, so I'm sorry.
Either Marcel or Martina or Marlena.
Martina. Okay, Martina.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. All right, gentlemen. What a show.
Wow. What a show. Dr. Peabody, I must tell you that this show is the most objective show today in Liberia.
Right. Thank you.
And you got to be really proud of you guys. I'm just
all of us got to be proud of ourselves.
But I want to give you guys Lofa, and you and Timothy and so forth. I think other shows may be larger or wherever, but that doesn't matter. What matters is your show.
I love this show. Yes.
And balance. And that's what I've been fighting for. And this show has done that. Prove that. Thank you.
Coming from Alex Jones, then we know that
did you guys follow the breaking news
What?
Alex Jones abandoned his 2029 campaign today and declared support for Dr. Moliba.
Look at
Yes,
that. Look at
did.
look at
Look, guys.
Yeah, how can you say it? Alex Jones
Look at
joined Moliba campaign.
You can go print your own story. You won't go print.
Look.
Okay. Look.
So that's how it's supposed
I
to
listen
be.
to you. That's what you did.
You see, when they try to do that, they try to beat the bishop. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to beat I will support any young man.
Portion of the clip, I'll cut it out and send it to you so you can listen to yourself.
Listen. Any young man, any young man that is doing a good job in Liberia and showing leadership and articulating his policy that wants to step up to the plate, I support you.
That man
said,
is,
it's not just about itself. Just the same way I'm not just for myself. What I want to see is a change Liberia with better leadership.
Look, let me tell you.
A Gongolo with young leadership. We don't want the same recycled people. That's why I say we don't want the old recycled politician.
There are 3 Liberians that I can point out here today and say they are one of Liberia's best. Liberia's best. Tewan Gonglo, Alexander Cummings, and Dr. Moniba. Those guys, Liberian.
Alex Jones Vice. Why you didn't mention his name?
Who? Alex Jones?
Why you didn't mention his name?
Why Alex Declare has something will mention his name.
But listen, let me give my. Are we just? Yeah, let me give my.
Our closing now.
God, yeah, we're gonna do our closing, but I just want to show something. I want to wish somebody a special anniversary today. I want to do that. I'm gonna put this up just for 1 second. Mrs. Mimsy, Peabody, Caddy, and Mr. Caddy want to wish you a happy 21 anniversary and wish you all the best. All right. So guys, let's do our closing now. Let's do our closing. And then I asked you to put a video up about the Bassett stuff. I sent it to you. It's a video that they're having a program tomorrow and about the United Bassett of PA. If you can put that up for me, Judah, I appreciate it. I just want to play that after the guys give their comments, and then we'll go to. I mean, we know the holiday weekend. We want to get it wrapped up. The guys got to go home. We've been keeping them in the studio a lot. They got to go home. So let's start closing. Robert want to start.
Yeah, let me start.
Chris wanted to take over the whole show. The first to ask questions, the first to do the Lord have mercy. Chris was overwhelmed today. She was
You see my t-shirt?
Yes.
But let me say, I look, like I said, I think that he was asked some tough questions, which is necessary. I thought Calabo was very direct in his question, and I enjoy his response when it came to the marriage thing. Some people have done it politically. They will get in these arrangements and to get married, and, to win an election. But marriage is not an easy thing. You got to be sure of what you're doing. So I like the fact that he's not being pressured into just marriage. It's a commitment that you have to be very, very certain about. But I thought that he was very articulate. Dr. Maniba, he seems to understand. It's one thing when people, are eloquent and they're well spoken, right? But I've listened to a lot of well spoken people who talk a lot of nonsense. They don't really know that crap. They don't know what they're talking about. You can sense it, right? For him, it is clear that he understands what he's talking about. And I'm not here to make any declaration or anything of that sort, but he's very solid. He seems to be a very solid individual. 2029 is a long way from now. I really hope to see a Liberia where we have a young, vibrant. I like the point that he made about don't vote for me because of my age, which is a valid point, right? Don't vote for me because I'm young. Vote for me because I have what it takes to be a great leader and to transform the country. One last thing I want to make is important for us to understand that transparency is great, right? But there are processes and things that people have to follow with a 501c3. And I like the fact that when the question was asked, I like the fact that he made mention that he's been following those processes as far as filing your taxes, reporting to your donors, which is very important. And I know a lot of reputable organizations in these United States who do not publish their tax or their financial report online for many security reasons. They don't do that. They report to those who support them. They have different videos on their pages to get the information out there, so folks know exactly how the funds are being used, and so forth and so on. So, but overall, it was a fascinating show. It was a great show, and the closing argument is special. It doesn't matter how many people are watching. It doesn't matter how many comments you have. It's about the substance, and this is what the closing argument brings. So, great show, guys.
And
Thank you,
guys.
Robert.
Thank you, guys. Look, I was somewhere the other day, and everybody talking about Robert, talking about Grace, talking about Julia, talking about Kellabu, Alex Jones. Look, when I go places now, I know it happened when I was on my previous station, but closing argument is just everywhere I go. I'm everywhere. The cookout area, you name it. And closing argument, everybody is talking about closing argument. Let's go to Kellabu. Kellabu, you want to go before Grace? Or Grace want to go before?
Yes, I should, because she went before all of us today, twice.
Jesus.
So I just want to make a quick comment on this. Dr. Monima, no doubt, he's a great communicator. He has PhD in rhetoric and communication. So if he's not a great communicator, then what else can he be?
Kellabu, you're a mess. In rhetoric.
Well, I tell you, his PhD is in rhetoric and communication.
But he also had the work to prove it. Is that what
No, rhetoric. Everybody want to laugh.
It's written on his page.
I don't care how you have to be rhetoric and you don't
I wait for Kellabu to finish. I got Tomalin on the line. He want to say something.
You guys you can't take away from Kellabu because he is accurate on that particular point that was just made on rhetoric.
What is the point? You can do
the point here is he's utilizing Grace. The point here is he's utilizing what he went to school for. And I mean, if a man obtains PhD in rhetoric, what you expect him to say? The man is simply just highlighting that particular part of it. Let a man say what is right.
We started
credit the man for his hard work.
He did.
The children won't go home, Grace.
Right. Credit the man for what he worked hard for.
Kellabu is a mess, man.
So his PhD is in rhetoric and communication. So if he's not good at that, then what else can he be good at?
Kellabu, you're a mess.
But here is the point. Here is my takeaway, my observation. And I'm going to repeat myself. I always say this because I don't consider myself expert on the government of Liberia, but I've been an advocate for a long time. Then I served in government, and I didn't just serve. I took my time to understand the different governance processes in Liberia. Okay, the different reforms. Even when I was out of government, I followed it, religiously. You see, these are the entities of government that have never been audited. The Executive Mansion / the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs since 2006 up to present, they've never been audited. The judiciary since 2006 up to present has never been audited. The legislature since 2006 up to present has never been audited. The office of the vice president since 2006 up to present has never been audited. So if you work in any of these branches and you claim to have been audited, then I beg to differ with you because not to say GSC is, for me, my standard of transparency. I have tremendous question about the auditing process or regime at GSC, but that's the standard we have. So I just wanted to make that point clear also when I saw Lofa going back and forth on that. Then the RIA issue. Guys, when the Minister of Public Works appeared here,
take a deep breath.
I brought the issue of the East International contract. He said the reason why the RIA role was not going to be completed even with until 2 years from now, because they signed a contract with East International bill at a rate.
They may sign in the show, or we give me closing the may sign the show.
So when I hear that Tomalin say he negotiated the RIA road project, I was like reminding myself of what the Minister of Public Works said, that the East International contract was to build just local road and give them an RIA road. So I was a little confused in that. I wanted to come by, but because this show was, we have limited time.
But so because you wanted to ask for the marriage business.
All right. We got Tomalin on. Tomalin want to say something. Since Tomalin is on, he want to say something. And then we'll go to Grace. Go ahead, Tomalin.
Yes, first let me say thanks to all the panelists, man. You guys did excellent. It was a very good show. I really enjoyed the show. You guys asked the right questions. I enjoyed the questions from Robert and Calabo and Lofa. You guys can Peabody. You guys really asked the questions that the public wanted to hear. I was impressed. I'm so happy. And let me say this: Dr. Moneyman, and I appreciate him a lot. And my support for someone for 2029 will be based on you coming to the public. No more should we encourage people who will not come on platform, who will not engage Liberian people to vote for them. That for the last 18 years, see what we have done to our country. People to support, people don't show up at all. But there's somebody said to have the fortitude to come forward to engage the voice panelists, he must give that person credit. So we should. And he said a lot of good things today that I take from there, and I said this guy has a promising future in our politics. So I want to appreciate him. I want to say thanks again to him and all you guys. You guys did a great job. I really enjoyed the show. I'm driving, but I enjoyed the show. I'm so happy that we have great people like you guys. And lastly, look, Keff Hassan will be on the show on Monday to make some clarification. Keff Hassan, we're waiting for him. Thank you. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Guys, stay safe.
Oh my God.
Man, you guys are funny.
Hey, do your closing.
Why are you rushing for the last 2 minutes, man?
Who you want me to do mine? You want me to do mine or who?
Grace, do your closing. Judah, you come before me.
Well, no, but
so
Grace,
go ahead.
No, Jesus, go ahead.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go because I have something.
Go ahead,
no,
okay, we got Ben Sanvee on the line. Ben is here.
Grace, I'll let you go tonight.
Go ahead. Ben is on. Let Ben talk.
Everybody coming to now.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Raul, Chichi will be the last.
Grace wanted to chew Lofa, and the way I saw her looking at him, I said, no, I don't care what they think Grace will do to Lofa, it will not be easy. But I was intrigued by Alex Jones doing an endorsement of Dr. Moneyba. Alex is now when he was announcing his candidacy, I was thinking about it. But maybe we may be looking at a Moneyba Choo Jones ticket. You never know what may be happening. I don't know if Grace is going to be supporting that ticket. And then lastly, I just want to say, but I do want to say thank you to you guys. I mean, I couldn't make it today. My goddaughter is graduating, so I couldn't make it today. But Dr. Moneyba is always one of my favorite guests. But Kelabo Congo, I always tell I don't know where he can come from with these things about the marriage business. And the same thing, he have all these examples when it comes to marriage and woman and man business.
Right.
I don't know why the man got to be married to talk about the moral concept, but overall, I thought it was a great show. I want to thank you guys again. And like Tomalin said, we'll be looking forward to that clarification from Keff on Monday. I want to do it right.
Thank you.
Yes. When he get where he need to get.
Yes.
Well, good.
You guys will not leave this thing alone, right?
Oh my God.
You guys will not leave this thing alone. But anyway, Grace is pushing me to actually go in here, so I don't want to be held in contempt because I know Grace wanted to say all the good things that were said tonight, but I think it was a great show, to be honest with you guys. I don't want to join the choir to sing again what was stated, but the fact that I saw SB Dunn endorse Mr. Moneybar, it speaks volume. SB Dunn, of all people, to write on here that he is now, he did not use DeLon's term to say he's leaning towards him, but he said he now actually appear in his in his domain or his area and just looking at, wow, you believe it or not, you just want yourself something you cannot imagine. I'm not here to blow his horn, but that is in reality the honest truth that to get
SB
that
is a sound name. Very sound.
thank you. To get that from SB Don, even though I wasn't heavily impressed.
He's
Even
not.
though no, SB Don is not
He's
a
not
flip
a
flopper.
he's a
He's
sound
honest.
guy.
If anybody is a flip flopper, it would be George Lobo much more. But let's talk about it. Let me close my kids here. Here's the reality, right? His performance tonight was great. He spoke. He addressed the issue, and he appeared very confident in his deliberation. And what I noticed about him is he wasn't trying to be a politician. He was sincerely being a politician who actually understands the plights of the people, and he's out here looking for solution and possibly have crafted that solution and is ready to implement. My only thing here is I hope that he will also continue to engage the people, continue to make sure that the message is out there, the people are getting the message, and those who are around him are actually pushing things out the way, and I hope that he will not fall prey to the typical Liberian party trick where they have certain things that are done. I hope that he will actually set that standard as for transformation and transparency in Liberia. And that's why I continue to push the whole issue of transparency and in that regards, because I personally have prepared. I created 501c, and Gracie and I will talk about this for several institutions. I've done it for people. I've done it for myself, and I know what is required in order for an individual who claims transparency and all of these things. You should not have to wait to be pushed by the law, and this is what exactly is happening in Liberia today, where people are now waiting to be questioned or pushed to court to provide the assets declaration. With that said, I just want to say, guy, it was a great show, and if you allow me to just make this public announcement, there's an opportunity, all right, and this is something I've been working on for the past couple years. Fortunately, today I got the information about it. We are looking to test out young Liberians, and this is for only high school students. You either in the 12th grade or if you have just graduated from high school, we are looking to provide job opportunity for Liberians in high school. Reach out to me if you are in possession of your personal laptop and you're willing to work from home. I've been working on this for the past few years. Fortunately, it just fell into place, and we are looking to test it out. We're looking for 5 candidates as of now, and eventually we will get into bringing more people on, but we are just on the pilot and testing things out. So if you're in Liberia, in high school, all right, you're in the 12th grade, or hopefully you're junior in high school or senior in high school, or just graduated, reach out to me. We'll only select 5 candidates. You will work from home, and you will get paid based on tax or hourly rate. But you must be interested in computer science. That is the key. You should be interested in computer science and looking to venture into that field, computer engineering, computer science, or anything of that nature. So if you're interested, please give me a call. Well, don't give me a call. Inbox me. All right. And we will go from there. I just wanted to say that finally it's here. Maybe a Liberian can actually buy into this idea, and we can give opportunity to young Liberians in Liberia, especially in high school. But you must have your personal laptop if you have it. We don't pay for data. The work that you would do, you have to do it on your own data, but you will get paid on time, and of course, electricity. So those are key issues. I know not too many people will benefit from it, but eventually, when we establish ourselves on the ground, you'll have the opportunity to come out there. But thus far, that's what I just wanted to say. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to share that news. Liberian can benefit from an opportunity to work. Thank you.
Can you hang up? Can you hang around and play that video?
Oh yeah. Let me play that for you right now, boss man.
I gotta do my closing. Great. Let me do my closing.
Great, do your Christian quickly. We'll do that video and then.
So I want to do my closing quickly. Anyway, Lofa, very good initiative. I'm going to buy into that a little bit. So you myself will talk behind the screen. You know, if we can find people, and I will buy into that. I have a whole plan to do that with you. Dr. Moniba, Dr. Clarence Bay Moniba. Che, my people, you can. Look, let me tell you, Dr. Moniba, although he did his degree in his doctorate degree in rhetorics, it doesn't cut it. It's not all to it. He has the weight behind his degree, and that's the most part that amazed me about this young man. And me, I did my bachelor's degree in public administration, speech communication. Doesn't give me the integrity, doesn't give me the weight, and doesn't give me, if I don't have that already added to what I went and did my degree in, then I have nothing. And that's the reason why I respect Dr. Money. But he has everything that backs his degree, and he's able to tell you what he has. And this show was a great show tonight. It was a very beautiful show. I just wanted to put out there that people saying that Dr. Moniba should come out, he should be on the public scene. He will be on the public scene because he did that in the elections. He did that. He had time to rest, and he's a very, very strong, energetic young man. He will do that again. He was one of the candidates that went to the debates. Most of the candidates did not show us. So as far as interview and everything, he will be on it. And we're looking forward. Really looking forward to that. But what really broke my heart tonight, and when Dr. Moniba was closing, you saw me that I was tearing up because when he spoke about that boy in Lofa County that lied on his shoe and started to wipe it, it broke my heart. You know, when you haven't been in a very rural area or Liberia, you never know how our people are suffering. And that boy is me, because I lost my mother as a teenager, and I couldn't see my way through. How I ended up even here in America to live my life and excel like this in my own life. You know, so when I see people like that, I know there's hope for them. How can we provide that hope? Who are the leaders are we looking at to work with to provide the hope for the Liberian children? And that's my call. Where is the future for the Liberian children today, tomorrow, in the future? I want Liberians to think about that. And I want to thank you guys for having this platform. I really appreciate being here. And I want to also thank Dr. Moniba for coming on here. And I want to say to him that I'm very proud of you. Mrs. Moniba did a very good job. She raised a very good son. And God bless her for that. And I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alex, give your closing, and then I will do a video for the United Bassa group, and then we'll call it a wonderful day. Go ahead, Alex.
All right. And I'll be very brief. I
trust you.
First of all, let me just make it very clear here. If people think that I'm going away, they better think again. I'm not going anywhere. In Liberian politics, how many of the old people do we have? So you're going to see Dr. Moniba, you're going to see Alex Jones, and you're going to see more young people. And that's what I'm here to do. Because if we let Dr. Moniba or Alex Jones go alone or anywhere, they will eat him up alive. They will join together. That's the trick they play. All the corrupt politicians that come together at the end of the day. Whether it's Gonglo, it's Cummings, or whoever, they don't come together, join. They see what they support Ellen and Borka to join them. So that trick there, I know that strategy, and I bring in my own strategy in 2029. Is coming down. I can tell anybody. We're going to unite as one people and one voice, and we're going to change that country, like Dr. Moniba said. So all our politics thing they've been doing, thinking that capable young people like myself, like like Grace, like Lofa, like SB, we should sit on the sideline and let them take the country down the path. So I'm just proud of my brother. Like I said, I will work with him. I will support him through anything, and many other young people. That's why I did during the campaign. That's why I step aside. I step aside because I was so focused on helping other young people, whether in the Senate, I mean the representative, helping the campaign and helping them, supporting them. And I don't see that from many of our young people. When one young person come in the race, instead of other young people to help that person, what they do? They join a corrupt politician to bring that person down. And lastly, I would say that Dr. Peabody, I strongly disagree with you when you talk about Liberian politicians in terms of good politician. And you mentioned Alice Cummings and you mentioned Gongle in that list. I think you're still looking in the past. I think it's time to look in the future. These people have had the chances. These people have, we're giving them too much, and we'll never reach our true potential until we start to see new and fresh people into anything in the era in Liberia. We keep going backwards. Where Congo 10 years ago, 20 years ago, for soy, how is it going to change that? These people should be sitting by and helping us and coming behind us and coming behind Dr. Monoba or whoever is young person or capable person. It's selfish for them to still be in a race with their grandchildren and their children trying to hold on to power. So again, thank you for the show. I think that this platform has done a remarkable, job in letting all voices, whether you rich, you poor, you big, you small, this is the place you can come to disagree and agree. And I hope we keep this up and we are never compromised by anybody. And the Liberian people will have a media for once that they can depend on. That is my prayer tonight. And thank you, you guys, including Grace. You did a wonderful job. Your kid didn't make you proud.
Go ahead.
Alex, we're so happy to have you. Yeah, but we just want to play the United Basel. They're having this festivity the whole week, and they've asked us to support them. They listen to our show a lot. In the future, we'll reach out to them as well. But let's play this, and then we'll call it a day. Julius, excellent project that you're working on. And if we can be of any help, let us know. All right, so let's get it rolling. We're not getting sound.
No sound.
It had sound, but I don't know why. Sound was there. Did you got muted somewhere?
Saturday, May 25th at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
address is 6400. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, Instagram, the entire line of social media, including WhatsApp. When it comes to outstanding organizations within the Philadelphia area, the most talked about is UNIBOA, which stands for United Basel Organizations in the Americas. UNIBOA PA chapter presents to you a long list of activities leading to Memorial Day weekend celebration in the city of Brotherly Love. It's the launching of its community center right in Philadelphia. It all begins on Saturday, May 25th at 7 p.m. Address is 6400 Pascal Avenue in Philadelphia. Come and support a cause that you won't regret. Then Sunday and Monday, May 25th and 27th, all roads will lead to 5900 Springfield Avenue in Philadelphia. Hey, the Grand Cookout will take place, ladies and gentlemen. The Grand Cookout and Delicious Food Sale will take place. Come and experience, hey, the tasting of, hey, the nice roasted fish, hey, the roasted chicken, the roasted fish, hey, the roasted meat, and the tabagid.
No sound.
This station rules the nation. This station rules the nation.
All right, guys. It's good to have Henry. What's that? Henry, take control. Thank you for staying out. Judas, thank you.
Peabody, can we get a refund for that voice overlay and the commentary on that video? Because we need our money back. I'm part of the Boston Association. That voice.
I'm part of the Boston Association too. I'm part of the Boston.
I'm just messing around, bro. But I mean, the voice. Oh, this was the whole commentary and voice overlay was something I need to figure out what was really going on. But anyway, it was a good one. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's not the entire show.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy the holiday. And we'll be back to listening to Keff Hassan's declaration on Monday.
You guys would not leave this thing alone, would you? All right. Anyway, guys, happy holiday to everybody out there. Enjoy yourselves. Telvico, we'll talk about Tech Talk another day on here. We'll introduce Tech Talk when we have everything together.
Telvi, come on and talk, man. Tell who you holding it down. And also Mr. and Mrs. Kadi, Memazine, and Mr. Kadi, happy anniversary. God bless you guys. I mean, I'm out. All right. I gotta start my Friday now.
I know. Henry, right. I know you got this, right, Henry? We good?
Henry, hold it down. Hold it down, Henry.
All right, I'm leaving. What do you got it down? Not keep it up.
What?
You got it right.
What is it?
What is it? I said you have it from here going forward. You got it under control, right?
Yeah.
All right, boss man.
I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you.
I got no time to worship him, my God. Oh yes, and I tell you on that note, this is how we love to call it a day. The time is exactly 18 minutes down, 12 o'clock here in Liberia. It has been very much fascinating, educative, and informative. I urge you to join the team. That's going to be on Monday. I wish the team going to be here again. Many thanks to the man Zizi Bara, their Hall of Fame, who sat control. And me say many thanks to the team there in Nima County, Sacapie, for also reading this program and all other affiliated radio stations. Carry the closing document live. I've been here with the man Ansu Selly, the man Arthur Butler. On behalf of the team, my name is Heron Jada. We'll catch you. That's going to be on Monday. But with that, we say bye-bye for now and a pleasant weekend to you. Take care. Bye-bye.